Halliburton, Stugotz, has now gotten deeper in the Eastern Conference Finals than Joel Embiid ever has. You have in Pascal Siakam someone who has twice now made it deeper into an Eastern Conference postseason than all of the process pieces. Mm-hmm. The Knicks, do you know how long their drought is without making an Eastern Conference Finals in relation to the rest of the league? Longest droughts without getting to a conference finals?
It's got to be 90s. I want to say, 30 years?
It was the year 2000. They've got the third longest drought in the sport. It's only behind the Wizards and the Hornets, the real bottom of the barrel stuff. And the loudest and biggest Knicks season, or the last two seasons, the loudest and biggest this century, eliminated by an 8, eliminated by a 6, barely squeaked past a 7.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two loudest seasons in the Knicks history this century. And good God, did ESPN soak that in bias. I don't blame Pacers fans for being an unholy kind of upset at how that became a celebration of the Knicks, even while the Pacers, Stugotz, are putting together through 3 quarters the best offensive performance that there's been in a Game 7 since 1963.
Right.
They miss no shots.
Mm-hmm.
How is that possible that the Pacers, is it just because the Knicks were injured? Is it just because the Knicks were playing a bunch of substitute players that shouldn't have been on the court that the Pacers were able to go through the entirety of that game missing 4 or 5 shots when the game was being decided?
I mean, the Knicks have been doing that the entire series. They've been short. Their bench has been shortened. Randall's been hurt, and they played fine. They made it to a Game 7 on their home court. The Pacers had a great night. I mean, that's it. The Pacers had a great shooting night, a legendary shooting night, the greatest shooting night in the history of the NBA playoffs. There's not much you could do about it when you consider the fact that they had that night and the Knicks are depleted. They just are. I mean, everyone's hurt. Now, listen, it was a great season for the Knicks, and I'm tired of people making fun of the fans. The fans got caught up in a great moment. There were great moments throughout this playoff run, if you want to call it a playoff run, into the Eastern Conference semifinals. But enough knocking Knicks fans, okay? They were loud. They were boisterous. Why? We haven't been there in a while, and because Jalen Brunson provided us with some of the greatest moments in NBA playoff history. He did. I mean, for us. For us. For us. I deserve it.
What happened to the Mecca being hard to play in, and you don't want to play in there in a Game 7 and the 6 seed?
This is why you don't want Game 7, Dan.
Scared.
Right.
Well, if you have confidence in your team and you're better than the other team, you should want Game 7.
Awful take.
We had no confidence in our team. What we had confidence in was the Mecca, was the fans, was that building. There is food flying out of my mouth right now. The Sphere, Dana.
What happened to the Mecca being a hard place to play?
And it is a hard place to play. It wasn't yesterday. I mean,
it's a pretty good time for it to be a hard place to play.
Yeah,
that would have been a good time to summon whatever that is.
The Mecca choke, Dan.
I mean, It was awfully quiet is all I'm saying. When I'm hearing Isaiah Jackson miss a free throw so that the Pacers can merely be up 19 and everyone's really happy that the Pacers have missed a free throw, they got to within 5.
Oh, that run, though. That building was rocking.
That was the Mecca. Pulling the Knicks to within 6, I think, at one point.
But what happened then? But what happened
after that? The Mecca got tired, Dan.
Yeah, did they?
Yeah.
Well, I did feel bad for Brunson. They were picking him up full court, and the intent throughout was just to bury him in fatigue. I thought Stu got something interesting last night. Obviously, you can't go wrong if you're a coach and you play Jokic all the minutes. But he was exhausted. And the reason they got all those rebounds and all those offensive rebounds, I mean, they might have gotten him if he wasn't exhausted. He was exhausted because he was playing all the minutes, and guys that size don't play all the minutes. And at the end of the game, when that game was being decided, you saw the Timberwolves go up 12-2 because they kept getting second chances because Jokic couldn't keep all those giants. They look awfully small when Jokic is tired. When Jokic is fatigued, all of a sudden you're looking around, hey, where's their power forward? Like where's somebody
Where's Aaron Gordon?
Where's somebody who's going to grab it? Where's Michael Porter? Where's someone who's going to grab a rebound?
Given the nature of how he shoots the ball, I thought it would be very difficult to tell whether or not Jokic has his legs under him, because he never gets lift anyways. But by the end, they were pretty tired shots. And watching Jokic very closely last year, really for the first time, I noticed, man, 5 minutes into this game, Jokic looks tired. And then his secret to the game was he would just maintain that level of fatigue the entire time.
He always looks tired.
No, but he always looks like kind of tired, but he never crosses the threshold. Last night, we crossed the threshold. Dude looked gassed in ways that I've never seen before.
This is what I will tell you, though, as people talk about, is Anthony Edwards the face of the league, and what happens to another one-time champion, Stugotz? Not enough people are going to talk about the decision to play Jokic all of the minutes, and in the fourth quarter, Minnesota rebounded 70% of its misses.
Yeah.
Like when they come back from 20 and Denver can't score, because Denver being in that series, Stugotz, because of the Minnesota defense, the 30th ranked offense, if we put what they did in this series in the regular season, they would have been one of the worst offenses in the league. They don't do well when they score fewer than 100 points. How is it that we don't get more expertise in the coverage that focuses on defense while we obsess about offense all of the time, Stugotz?
Who wants to focus on defense, Dan? Honestly?
Well, that's the reason Minnesota won, though. Like, you might not want to focus on it. You can focus on all the other reasons that you think they won, but the reason they won is because they wore the hell out of Jokic with their big people, just like Juju said. I assume that's why Juju's dancing. Juju, don't throw your hands up as if you haven't been dancing for 7 minutes.
I mean,
I'm
Dan,
just a humble participant here, guys. I'm just happy to be alive.
Sure you are. I mean, you're making a great point. The Nuggets had 37 points in the second half. Think about that. 37 points in the second half.
Well, I want to ask you something about how the sport is changing, because I will say to you, get used to the idea that a team will come back from 15 down in a Game 7. That's the first time that that's happened. It's the first time it's happened on the road, but get used to that. Once the three-pointer becomes that kind of important, you're going to get these wild shifts in scores, because it didn't mean much that Denver was up 58-38 in the first half. It didn't mean much that Barkley and others were saying, get Gobert off the court, because he can't do anything to defend Jokic. But clearly, them throwing Reed, Karl Anthony Towns, and Gobert at Jokic presents a set of problems that no one else in the league can present for Denver. Nobody makes Denver look like that. Miami with Bam Adebayo did some of that last year and didn't have the offense to overcome it and lost in 5 games. That's not something that you see from a championship level offense. And the thing that I wanted to ask you that's also changing now, the era of the super team was great for the winning of championships. But now, in a sport that is traditionally super predictable, you have a 5, a 6, a 3, and a 1, and you're going to have your 6th champion in 6 years. And each time they win the championship, they tend to break apart, too. Toronto is in no way in any realm what they were with Kawhi Leonard and Siakam. And I always heard that dynasties were seen as bad for the sport, but I don't think that this is better. I like it. I wouldn't have liked Jokic winning 3 or 4 straight titles. I don't think that would have been fun for anybody. I think it would have felt a little bit like San Antonio winning the titles, where people,
boring.
Lil Wayne can't even explain. He's just like, I don't like Jokic's game. I don't like watching any of that. That's not for me. That unstoppable excellence. That's not how I want basketball to look. Is 6 champions in 6 years good for the sport?
Well, the ratings would indicate no. I know that they're in a different place, but sports across the board are up, and the NBA is struggling. Some of that's due to the sport changing, but the poison that met the super teams such as the Miami Heat and the Golden State Warriors kind of scared players away from it. It scared Kevin Durant away from winning other titles because he wanted to do his own thing, and not a lot of people are comfortable being the bad guy. I don't think this is great in a vacuum when you had the Spurs having their run, Lakers mixed in there, the Heat, dating back to the Rockets and Bulls. You always longed for a day where there was a little bit more parity in the sport, and now that we have it, I'm not sure I love it.
You guys sound like losers.
I am one. I mean,
Jokic had 4 rebounds in the second half. 4 in the second half. And they just came at him with wave after wave of just giant bodies.
I understand what you're saying. He was tired. They wore him down. They have 3 guys they could throw at him. He did have 34 points and 19 rebounds
understood.
in a Game 7.
I know, but Stugotz, their offense was bad.
I know.
And it doesn't matter if you're getting to 90 points against the number 1 defense in the sport. You're going to give up the 20-point lead. You allowed way too many second-chance shots. And Denver's championship was over the moment that Rudy Gobert hit that turnaround jumper.
There we
against
are.
the shot clock.
I am going to tell my grandchildren's children about the night Rudy Gobert shot a ball into the heavens, and it came down not touching a net.
It was unbelievable. It's the way. I did not have Jokic being slain that way. If you could have predicted for me all the ways, if you had come to me, I don't know, 24 months ago and said, look, this is what's going to happen. This guy who keeps getting played off the court because he no longer fits. He's a dinosaur trying to fight against fighter jets. It doesn't fit on the court the way the sport is changing. But this is what's going to happen in a couple of years. Jokic, who's the 3-time MVP, is going to put down his sword because Rudy Gobert's hitting a turnaround jumper that he's floating higher than the shot clock because he's panicked and there's nowhere else to put the ball except throw it toward the basket because the shot clock is expiring.
Enjoy your horses.
But you tell me, if you're Jokic in that game.
Evil voice.
But think about this, though. You're exhausted. You're sitting here saying, oh, really? Again with the 6th man of the year with a putback. Again with Carl. But I've kept Gobert out of here, and now it's Karl Anthony Towns who's going to have the putback. You're exhausted. You want to go see your horses. It's been 2 long years. And then that shot goes in. You're like, I'm going to keep running up and down the court, but I'm thinking of vacation now. I'll keep going. I'll keep trying.
Going through the motions.
I will physically go through the motions. You will see me motioning as if my season is not over. But once that falls from the sky, you've got to be like, okay, this is meant for me. I am destined.
It's not in the cards,
to just go rest somewhere for the remainder of the season. But getting back to Stugotz's beloved New York Knicks, they wasted the Burks game.
They did. I told you, 20 points any given night.
Hey, Stugotz was right.
Thank you.
Holy Stugotz was right.
Stugotz was also right to feel down, even though he was up 3-2.
Hey, Stugotz was right. Holy Stugotz was right.
The thing that's crushing is to have the expectation of this is going to be the most electric building we've had this century, and then nothing all game long. Pushed back again and again by Miles Turner.
By shooting.
Whoever that was on the front row, they did this. To whoever Tyrese Halliburton was talking to, I didn't know if it was Sam Morrill. I don't know who is, but that person is responsible for the Knicks' demise. I'm saying it on wax.
I mean, all those funny people from New York we brought through this show, and to all be undone by Andrew Nembhard.
Right. I hope we got Mero, Sam Morrill, everybody on here today, right?
Sam Morrell is going to be on here in a little while. Yes. I'd like to circle back, though, on East Coast bias, Stugotz. And I've been talking about this for a while because one of the places that I saw this change was on Pardon the Interruption, where I see Michael Wilbon tucking his Cubs jersey into his jeans and going out there and throwing a first pitch. And I was like, oh, okay, we're doing the sports journalists are allowed to have allegiances thing.
That's the day journalism died, Dano. It is. Yeah.
Put it on the poll, Juju, at LeBatard Show. When Wilbon threw out the first pitch at a Cubs game, is that the day journalism died? But yesterday on the show, and I'm not going to go back into the well that I've gone into very often that gets people upset about how the power shift has changed at ESPN, but at least in part, because Stephen A. Smith
Yep.
is a very public Knicks fan. The coverage of that game beforehand, Stugotz,
Yep.
was Spike Lee and motivational speech from Stephen A. Smith as a Knicks fan, and it was very celebrating all things New York, the same way that the big networks celebrate the Cowboys and the things that get ratings. But to me, if I'm a Pacers fan, the part that pisses me off is the last 4 minutes of that game, a historic game for the Pacers. Only Breen every once in a while would bring it back to the Pacers. It was the Knicks that they were talking about the whole time. And if I were a Pacer fan, I'd be mad at how slanted that coverage was.
But Pacer fans won the series. They're moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals. They have the last laugh. Who cares about that stuff? No, Dan, the story yesterday, win or lose, was about the Knicks. It was about those fans. It was about that building. That was the story headed into the game. The story changed once the game got started. But before the game, what do you want ESPN to cover? The Pacers?
Stugotz, when you say who cares, sports fans care about perceived disrespect. And this was disrespectful. Like, I'm not a fan of either of the teams I'm watching. I see one winning, the other losing, and the one that's being talked about is the losers as if they're the winners when they the bet at home, although there were valid reasons.
I saw it on Awful Announcing. Bob Myers was asked at halftime, what are you seeing from this Pacer team to come out so electrified in that first half? And he immediately talks about OG Anunoby. And it becomes a soliloquy about the New York Knicks, even though he was asked directly about what he's seeing from the Pacers.
You tell me how I'm supposed to feel if I'm a Pacers fan, and this is the third different roster that's made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and you're still talking to me about the Knicks, who have the longest drought outside of the Wizards and Hornets.
I get it, though. That we've detailed the struggles and ratings from where they used to be. One thing that definitely rates for the NBA is the New York Knicks, and ESPN now is a propaganda machine for the broadcast that they own the rights to. And what is getting people, and they see the metrics. I guarantee you they're going to talk Dallas Cowboys today on First Take. Because they have the metrics to support. They need to be talking Dallas Cowboys every day.
Mike, fast forward to the Eastern Conference Finals. The story is going to be about the Celtics. Win or lose, it's going to be about Boston. Dan, no one cares what anyone in Evansville thinks about the coverage, okay? No one does, okay? Gary, Indiana, Fort Wayne, Indiana, please, okay? Nobody cares what those people think about the coverage. They are moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's it. That's enough for them. ESPN did the right thing. They covered the right team, the right city, because that was the story headed into the game.
I would dispute that on a couple of different fronts on behalf of Indiana fans. One of them would be this. The Knicks had two turnovers while getting slaughtered in that first half. The Pacers got one free throw. Like midway through the second quarter, one free throw. Do you know how hard it is to win on the road under those circumstances by blowout? It's not that the Knicks played poorly. It's just they endured a historic onslaught that was being ignored because we were talking about how injured the Knicks were and how bad you felt that now Jalen Brunson is out with a fractured hand.
You mentioned the East Coast bias, and I think we have a Sunday night bias in that what happened on Saturday in that sport was also really rad. Kyrie Irving is now 14-0 in closeout games, and that game looked over. And they come all the way back, and Luka Doncic appears to be the kind of irresistible force with a triple-double that maybe Jokic was last year. And for me, that is the story. I mean, Luka Doncic getting emotional talking about Kyrie Irving, who very quietly has become a leader on that team, has fit in nicely, has not at all been a distraction, has been that piece, and is now fulfilling the promise.
It's crazy.
He's doing for the Mavs what he was supposed to do for the Boston Celtics.
There are two bits of analysis that everybody whiffed on in the new NBA. It was the Gobert trade that everyone got wrong, and the idea that Dallas wasn't a good fit for Kyrie Irving. You mentioned OKC, Joklahoma City, Choklahoma City, and now your hearts are Broklahoma City.
Bars. Wow.
Wow.
Mixtape coming soon.
That was good.
They had at 1 a.m. a bunch of fans at the airport like it's a college town. And when you say who cares, Stugotz?
Right.
That's who cares.
Okay, great.
Okay, but
I'm talking about Terre Haute, Indiana.
But you don't care that way anymore, and you would care. You would care that way if you'd won.
Listen, I've never cared enough to meet my team at the airport after they've lost. Actually, I've never cared enough to meet my team at the airport after they've won.
You're not emblematic,
Dan.
here.
People who show up to the airport late at night to applaud their team coming off a plane because they had a good season.
It's weird.
Please, it's sad. Yeah.
Don't do this, brothers. Y'all teams are losers. That's it. Don't lash out. Y'all are at home. That is all that's happening here.
It's a fair criticism to bring up the lack of Pacers coverage, but this show doing it is like we covered the Knicks more than anyone during the
but
season.
wait a minute.
Guiltiest party.
Absolutely.
WFAT,
Absolutely. We are the guiltiest party, and hypocrisy is looking at me in the mirror. But I will say, it was only to get to today. Understand that.
And audience acquisition.
No, understand that I knew today was coming at some point this season.
You knew you were getting there.
I knew I was going to get there somehow. I was going to get this day.
Damn you.
There was no chance. All the other teams could be as injured as the Knicks, and the Knicks were not going to have a day where I was going to eat it at the end. That's not what was going to happen. The whole of that was strategic. We turned into WFAT. We got bloated.
WFAT. Speaking of WFAT T-shirts are right now available on LebatardAF.com. Go get you 7 of them.
WFAT. Fire Tom Thibodeau, trade OG, get rid of him, don't re-sign him. Hartenstein as well. Just light up the phone lines today, boys, and enjoy your 20 share. Oh,
you will be able to talk. I'm a little scared at what's going to happen live with Sam Morril because he's not going to be happy. He's going to be running dark, but he's going to give, I'm imagining, because he's positivity guy about this team, I'm assuming that what he's going to do is just be proud of that team's heart and fight, which it was overmanned, outmanned. It was not healthy enough, but I thought the home stadium was supposed to get you a game.
Yeah.
I thought it was supposed to get you an important
it got
game.
us game 5.
They have very valid injury concerns, and they probably would have been smoked by Boston, who I think we can now look at it. What a flat track they have
Yes.
to get back to the NBA Finals.
They have to win it, right?
They've got to beat
plenty-
the Pacers without Porzingis, and without Porzingis, Mike, you laugh, but without Porzingis, they're a small team, they're a different team, they're a bit positionless.
What I'm
Big
laughing
Al.
is I'm remembering the YouTube cold open where Stugotz was formulating this all the pressures on the Timberwolves take. What are you talking about?
Wow.
If Tatum doesn't do it now,
Right.
Like if he doesn't do it this
If
time,
not now, when?
we better crush him. I'm talking LeBron 2010. Crush him.
I want a Tatum Edwards final so I can crush somebody. I mean, that's what I'm looking for.
I want to crush.
on Dallas.
I want to crush the Knicks doctors for doing that to Anunoby for that result. That guy's not going to be able to see straight for several months because he played those minutes trying to get that Willis Reed moment. How do you waste the Willis Reed moment? This is a dangerous proposition. Sam Morril cannot be happy right now. He is proud of his team, but he runs dark, and the last time we had him on after a loss, it was just simply dangerous. And he's got a sly smile on his face, and I've got to be honest, I get scared when he's got a sly smile on his face because what can come from behind that mask is dangerous, and it is professional, and it can be funny and sharp, but it can also be violent and unpleasant, and he'll burn everything here down. He doesn't care because he is hurt today, I imagine, but proud of his team. He's our senior Knicks correspondent. He's the commissioner of fandom. He's got shows coming up in Lexington, Kentucky, in Southern California, in Atlantic City, Rochester, Baltimore, here in Doral, in Miami, and same time tomorrow is the Netflix special. Brutal the way that went down yesterday, Sam, in that you know that building hasn't felt like that in a while, and then Anunoby comes out all drugged up, and you get what you need from him and can never get back into the game because the Pacers put up a historic shooting performance.
Well, look, Anunoby, I give him a lot of credit for coming out there, but you just said get what we need. I mean, it's like popping a Viagra and giving you 2 pumps. He hit 2 nice shots, but it wasn't, it's not the difference maker. He gave us 5 minutes. He couldn't walk. So, anyone who says this Knicks season wasn't a success, including Jalen, we're very proud of our team. But you can't say this Pacers team, although a great shooting team, would have beat the Knicks if they were fully healthy. Taking 7 games to put us away, missing over half our team. Stop shaking your head. And then,
which is the asshole? Which one of them?
Whoever was shaking his head right there.
That was you.
Good to meet you, brother. But I cut clips of you calling Joel Embiid soft as hell. He had a bad eye, bad back, bad knee, bad body, and you was celebrating, dancing on his grave, talking about how good the damn Knicks was. Now that y'all lost with some damn injuries, now you want some sympathy. Get your ass out of here.
One guy was good enough to put up a 50-piece. The Knicks were missing 6 players by the end of this series. If you put on Ocean's 11 and there's no Matt Damon, no Brad Pitt, you're just like, what the hell? This movie's not as good. No shit. We're missing over half our rotation. OG was the answer on Pascal Siakam, and he couldn't put up big nights against him. But once Josh Hart is guarding him, no shit, he's going to get cooked in the post. He's much shorter. So, I'm sorry the Sixers lost. I'm sorry, Joel Embiid, hell of a player. One injury, but he was able to still play. And you had a fresh whole team. We didn't have Randall. We didn't have OG this series. We didn't have Mitchell. Injuries are a real thing. All right, well, enjoy having Embiid never healthy for a playoff series because he never will be. He's Mr. Glass from Unbreakable. The Knicks will be back. I say we run it back. I hope we do. I think healthy, we're pretty damn dangerous, so I hope they keep it together.
Cynthia,
Isaiah, back OG.
Cynthia, can you please put together for me a banner that says, no way the Pacers beat us if we're healthy in Game 7 so that we can send it to Sam and have him put it up in his apartment?
And when you said real fans won a Game 7, this is why I told you you're a jerk off. What are you talking about? Real fans want to win. We wanted to put this away in 6, obviously. I told you I'd be there if there was a Game 7. I was there. Tough game to be at, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Sam, I didn't say that you should want a Game 7. I said that if you have real confidence in being the better team, why would you be afraid of a Game 7 at home?
Do you believe that injuries are not a real thing?
I believe they're a real thing for everybody who's playing basketball this year, and that no other fan base ever wants to hear about your fan base's injuries.
That's fair, but it's a reality. And I think we run it back next year. Hopefully we're healthy. Hopefully we bring back OG and Hardenstein. I think they were important to the team.
Sam, I actually realized this series was over when they went to the OG moment. There's only so many times you can go for a Willis Reed moment. They already had one with Jalen Brunson in Game 2 at the Mecca. And so I knew the series was over when they went for another Willis Reed moment, and OG came out looking like me. Like, he looked like he was 93 years old. He could barely walk.
Barely walk, and he hit 2 big shots. But you know when he couldn't barely walk? When he threw a dunk down on Joel Embiid. That was pretty fun. But
I'm a Celtics fan.
Look, he's a hell of a player, and look, bad luck is a thing. It'll happen, and we're grateful for. Here's the thing that's funny is people do have some grudge against New York fans being happy because any other team is this depleted from injury. You're celebrating the resilience. You're like, holy shit, they really fought with half their team. But for some reason, not with the Knicks. Shout out Alec Burks. Great series despite us having just no defensive answer for a sharpshooting Pacers team. And we just didn't have the size. We were getting killed inside by Siakam so much. And their shooting was great yesterday. You have to give your hats off to their shooting. But I just don't think they get those looks if we have a healthy OG, if we have a healthy Mitchell Robinson, obviously. I mean, the defense is they got good looks on us. They're killing us.
Let's play some video here for Sam and see what it is that delights him or agitates him from all of the things yesterday. Let's begin with Stephen A. Smith making his entrance into MSG. And to be fair to Stephen A. Smith, the Knicks didn't have enough healthy star power. He'd be like their second or third most famous Knick. So he should be dressed that way, and he should walk in as if it's his building. But I imagine it made Sam crazy to watch this.
I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I mean, it is funny that he looks like a photographer in a safari in the 1950s for some reason. But I mean, no, I like that he's fans should be there. You know, I'm glad that we have fans in the building, but I don't think he's good luck. I mean, is anyone arguing that we're like, oh, good, we're good? You know, I don't think it's a great sign that Stephen A's there. I don't think I was like, oh, this is the juice we need to get us over the top. I don't think Isaiah Hartenstein's playing like, oh, good, the guy who never believed in me. You know, I don't think he's helping us. He ain't Ben Stiller or Spike Lee. He ain't like a guy we're like, oh, cool. But you know, at the end of the day, it comes down to the injuries, as I said. It doesn't really matter. Can we stop?
You sound defeated.
No, look, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. The injuries are a fair point. It's not up for dispute. But let's see if we can play Paul Pierce here. This one surely will get Sam upset. Surely this Paul Pierce stomping on Jalen Brunson's jersey will surely upset Sam.
What, homie? What?
I mean, this guy is. This guy's in his mid-40s. What is he doing? You know, it's just weird. Why does he hate Jalen Brunson? And then he's defended by saying it's about the Knicks. Paul, keep eating shortbread cookies. You're about 2 packs away from looking like Charles.
No, come on.
No, Dan, it's weird.
There's no fat shaming here on WFAT.
But it's weird. He has no history with the Knicks. Like, what does he care?
Let my boy cook.
Paul Pierce.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the last time the Knicks played Paul Pierce and the Celtics in a series, we actually beat him.
Touche.
Let's play for Sam. All of the Knicks appearing yesterday at the game. They were all dressed in black because they were at a funeral for the Pacers here. They all came in dressed in black, including Tibbs. You have to do better than that if you're going to come in black.
You know what's even better about that? That was Game 6.
It's fun.
No, yeah. Look, how about Tyrese Halliburton wearing a different outfit coming in than leaving yesterday because he's got no confidence even against a half-healthy Knicks. Tyrese leaves in a Reggie Miller choke shirt. He shows up in, I'm sure, some Prada runway horseshit that looked oversized and ridiculous on him. I didn't see what he came in. But the fact that he had a second outfit in case they won shows how little confidence Tyrese has, even against a depleted Knicks team. So congrats, you beat half our team. I'll give you half a congratulations.
I love it.
Next year, I can't wait to see him again. And I can't wait to cook their ass. Just got to bring back OG and enough of this footage. Let's bring back OG and Isaiah, and it's a wrap. I mean, we will beat them up. Siakam ain't putting up those numbers against a healthy team.
How about
4 front court players missing is insane. It's insane defensively. It's insane for your depth. So.
You were in the building, but you probably didn't catch much of the pregame. Some people in Indiana and elsewhere are bothered by how much Knicks bias soaked the entirety of the broadcast. Here's Stephen A. Doing basically a pep rally for the Knicks.
They ain't here right now. You understand what's at stake. It's been since 2000 that we've been in the conference finals. We've waited 24 years for this moment right here. OG Anunoby is back. Josh Hart's going to play. When you talk about Game 7, it comes down to grinding. It comes down to guts. It comes down to who won it. Come up in here. Come up in here, Spike Lee. You come right here. Come right here. It's orange and blue skies, baby. This is what it's all about right here. This is what we've been waiting for right here. It's Game 7. This is what it's about. Get the hat. Put it back on it. The New York Knicks. It's about grinding. It's about guts. It's about heart. That's what games are. And Clark just walked by. This is what it's about. This is what we waited for right here. One game, 48 minutes. Orange and blue skies, baby. Orange and blue skies. That is what it's all about, Bob.
Well, God, in Game 7, I'm going
me. It's not equal time.
It's about me.
Play that at my funeral.
He's not a real, as I've said a million times, he's shown up this year for the first time. So is he a real fan? God, why you show me this, Spike? Poor Spike. Spike's seen it all, man. He's seen it all. Stephen A. Enough about
he hasn't seen a title.
He has. How old do you think Spike is? He has seen a title.
Well, we haven't seen him watching a title being won.
That's because you weren't alive. But it existed. I'm sorry it was in black and white. It still exists. You also deny the Holocaust? That happened too.
No.
Yeah, I'm going there, Dan.
No,
this is going
I
off
knew
the
this
rails.
was
Feels like a lash out, Sam.
I knew you were going to escalate it to there.
Yeah.
You cannot be trusted to not
All this because he had to
escalate it
count
to
on Alec Burks.
Hey, Alec Burks looked good though. You got to admit. I mean, for being this depleted, he did look pretty damn good.
Bring him back.
You're absolutely
Mr. Game
right.
7.
He's got shows coming up in Lexington, Kentucky, in Southern California, in Rochester, Doral, Baltimore. Same time tomorrow is the Netflix special. Let's leave him with some Tracy Morgan here. Tracy Morgan was very excitable during the game yesterday.
This town is going to be fire, fire, fire.
Hey, what's up, shooter?
Well, I'm hanging in there. This Zoom stuff is really exciting.
Oh, it is so nice to see you. Do you know, I know that you do this for everybody.
He addressed him as shooter.
I know. It's Christopher McDonald, and he's done a lot of other things, although I don't know if people connect with him as much as they do with the asshole shooter McGavin. You played the so well. I mean, in fact, it's rarely been played better than you. And I'm guessing that this reaction you're getting from us, you get all the time. People who are just delighted to see your face.
Delighted is interesting. They love to hate the shooter. I don't know why. I seem like a nice guy, but the character was so damn much fun to play. And working opposite Sandler and having so many great actors in that show. I can't walk down the street without people just going, shoot. I don't even know if they know my name. They just go, shooter, and they throw the guns up. It's pretty funny.
Can you explain to us what the connection is, how it resonates, why it resonates? Because have you had another role that feels like that one where it connects with an entire generation?
No, I'd have to say Happy Gilmore is the one that has been standing out. It's crazy. I've been Jerks before. Been Jerks in Thelma and Louise, but she had to go over the cliff rather than come back to me. That wasn't good. So I knew I had to go out there a little bit. But this was just so much fun with sports talk and, and all the great lines they wrote and we ad-libbed. It was just, it resonates and people love the Sandmans. So everyone's watching this thing. I think they just threw it back on after I made a little faux pas and said, there might be a 2 coming around. Then they stuck it on Netflix and it was like the #1 show for a long time. So that was great.
Do you understand?
Even though I was 28 years old.
Do you understand the connection? Like, can you articulate to us how it is that a moment, you had no idea that was going to connect there with so many people, did you?
No idea. No one ever knows, I think, in a movie. You take your odds, you take your shots at it, and then you get test audiences and stuff. And I remember people enjoying it a whole lot when I went to the premiere 28 years ago at Universal. It was very well received, but you never know. No one really laughed at the shooter so much, but they laughed at me for many, many years after.
What would you say is your breakout role? Is it Thelma and Louise?
Yeah, well, Thelma and Louise was, that was a game changer in a lot of ways. It blew the doors open for a lot of really cool directors to work with, and such a great story. And it was never done before, and so many people turned it down in the business of show because they thought 2 broads, bankrupt. I don't know. I don't think no. And so Ridley Scott, God love him, had the vision and just made it sound so great to the ladies and to the cast, and one of the greatest directors I've ever worked with, because he is your champion throughout, and that is a gift for an actor. He just says, "You do you, man. You go and do it." And if he has any notes for you, he will give it to you. But he just sat back and and laughed a lot at what I was doing. So it's pretty funny.
I should tell the people he was nominated for an Emmy for his role as Marty on HBO's Hacks. It's very funny. It's in season 3, Thursday nights on Max. And last week's episode of Hacks was a golf episode. It aired the night after Netflix announced that a sequel to Happy Gilmore was in the works. Do you guys have for me the video of Christopher McDonald in a back and forth. I don't know what most people want to talk to him about or repeat to him, although he said, they just say shooter. But let's have the back and forth. He was just such a great, pompous, rich country club golfer. He had the hair for it, the sweater, perfectly cast. No one else could play the role of shooter. Here's a back and forth with Adam Sandler.
Big trouble, though, pal. I eat pieces of like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of for breakfast? No.
How much of this was ad-libbed? How much?
I use that once a week, by the way.
How much was scripted and how much was ad-libbed?
Everything was scripted up to the point where I said, no. They left it in, which I thought was quite funny because Shooter had no comebacks at that time. He got better later on in the whole stuff. Quit fraternizing with the help. Gilmore, just hit your ball if you can find it. Hi, Grandma. Stuff like that. Just too much fun to do.
Were you around for the Bob Barker scene? Were you in the presence of the Price is Right host when he fought Adam Sandler?
That scene right there is arguably one of the most memorable. I was around. I was making a deal up on the hill with the great late actor, and we had such a fun time. And I stuck around to watch him do it. And the great thing about Bob Barker, God love him too, it was the fact that he said, "I'll do it, but I'd like to do my own my own stunts. I'm a bit of a pugilist." And he was like, like this guy weird. Okay, Bob. And he did it, and it was so funny. And then The Price is Wrong and all that stuff is just classic.
All scripted, or Barker, did he ad-lib any of it? Did he throw in a bitch here and there that wasn't in the script?
I think they added a bitch at the end. Price is Wrong, and he walks away, comes back, bitch.
On Friday, you posted a pantheon of golfer mugshots.
I'm not sure that's his Twitter account.
No, I would actually like to ask, what are your thoughts on the parody account that has actually kind of helped the legend of Shooter McGavin grow? And I assume a lot of people assume, just like Stugotz did, that you run admin on that account?
You don't?
That's a good question, and I just ran into him recently. I went to Cleveland. That's where I spilled the beans on the number 2 happening. All I did was see the front page. But anyway, yeah, he's a good guy. He's very funny, but I asked him to leave this stuff out. So I have to call him and say, really? But 87 gajillion thousand views. So he's joined the club. He's a funny guy. He gets, it helps him out, helps his family out. They get, back. And I talk to him from time to time and say, hey, let's do this or let's do that. And he just takes it and runs with it. He's a pretty funny guy. So I'm all for it.
What can you tell us that people do not know about the shooting of Happy Gilmore? Any of the behind the scenes stuff? You had no idea. It could have felt at times like you were making a really movie, right? It can be hard, this line between what it is you guys actually achieved, and sometimes that stuff swings and misses and you have no idea whether it's actually going to work.
Yeah, I think it was mostly a joyous experience. There was a little ad-libbing and a little barb throwing and things like that. And first of all, I had no idea why they call him Shooter. And I thought, I know, I'll get off the tee. I thought, no, that's stupid. That's what Gilmore does. He hits it like a monster. I know, I'll pull the guns out and I'll make this thing and have when I make putts or stuff like that. And that's what stuck. And I did ask Dennis Dugan, our great director, to say, I said, Dennis, I know we're losing light and everything, but please let me make this putt. Don't let it roll into the ball, roll into the cup. Let me put it in the hole, put it in one shot. And he said, all right, McDonald, I'll give you 5 tries. And I think that was try number 5 because it lipped out. And it was on a botanical garden because no self-respecting golf club is going to let you, drop a tower on their greens. So we just basically we did that and it went in, and then I just added like crazy. I went, you didn't shoot that, baby. It was just too much funny. I did throw my putter too. I don't know. It could have hit somebody and hurt somebody, but I was just in the zone, and I think I threw it over their head, thank God.
Because the finger guns were so perfect at just giving off just total condescending arrogance, what were the rejected things that you went to in the mirror before you chose the finger guns? Because I can't imagine anything coming close to the finger guns.
No, I just think if there wasn't much of other choice. It was basically the finger guns or high sign. I don't know. The fingers thing was Shooter all the way, and just to do that and pop it out each time and like that is just too funny. There are bobbleheads made of the arms going up and down, not like this now.
Who is the strangest or most unusual, powerful person who has wanted to talk to you about that role where you've been taken aback?
The strangest, most powerful person? Rich Eisen. He's pretty powerful. I love him. He and Sandler are good mates too. We just we talk about. We kind of dropped the idea that it might be happening. But this is many years later. I guess it's got to be in the. I don't even know anything about the script, to be honest. So, is it the senior tour? Is it the Ryder Cup? I don't know what they're doing, but Tim Hurley and Adam are working at it. So we'll see what happens soon. But Rich Eisen Adam said, "McDonald dropped the ball. What's up?" He goes, how could you think he could trust shooter? Come on, really. So, but it wasn't my fault. That's all I'm saying.
Stugotz was disappointed.
Rich Eisen, there has to be someone bigger.
He wanted someone better than Rich Eisen. Stugotz was palpably disappointed by that.
I'm better than Rich Eisen.
Come on.
I was just saying it. I mean,
come on.
Football podcast of the year, 3 years in a row.
What details of the plot can be?
That's awesome.
Thank you very much. You know what? No one else is happy for me around here except for you. I like you, man.
You lost the last year.
What details of the next Happy Gilmore script of the plot can you share with us? Anything?
This much.
Okay.
0. They tell me nothing. They know I spilled the beans a little early, so they keep it away from me. I can't wait to read it, to be honest. Like I say, they're working at it right now, and I know that Tim Hurley was down at the PGA. Oh my God, what is that? Was that great golf or what?
Amazing. Yes.
Great theater, great golf.
It took my breath away. Shot after shot after shot. These guys are monster hitters and insane putters. It was just, if you didn't like golf after watching that, you don't like the game of golf. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you wanted to make your own putt, so it was clear that you liked golf before you got into Happy Gilmore. But since then, it seems like you have such a deep passion for the sport, and that's where I'm sure the access to a lot of powerful people has come in, because they all love that movie too. And you've just been. It's almost as if you're considered a real golfer in golfer circles. It's odd.
It is odd. It is the most wonderful and frustrating and mind-blowing and exciting game. I've played a lot of sports in my day, but I didn't get into golf until later on in my early 20s. So it's a game I love to play. I mostly do it for charities. It's great. We raise a lot of money for St. Jude's with our friend Patrick Warburton. We helping kids out that are having a hard time in life. It's nothing better than to get together and do it for a great cause and raise a lot of money to save those things. But for the most part, it's just I get new clubs. I've got I hate carrying my clubs because the original clubs were stolen off of a plane. I couldn't say, where's my clubs? They're not here. Oh man. So I got really bummed about that. And then Wilson's is so nice enough to send me another set. And then now I play with PXGs and I have Callaways up in the mountain. It's good. It's good stuff.
How underwhelming is your actual golf game for people?
What a question. People ask me, you really golf shooter? I go, I can play.
I bet you're good. I bet you're good, and I bet you don't want to brag now, but I would love to make you our golf correspondent. If you just want to analyze what happened this weekend, the genuine passion, the radiance that emanated from you talking about golf, please, the stage is yours. Tell us everything that you loved about this weekend that included the world's #1 golfer being arrested before a round and doing a stretching in jail.
Yes, how insane was that? I love the guy. He's fantastic. I was rooting for a lot of people in that. JT had some insane shots. He chipped out of, I think 3 or 4 times he chipped out of the sand. Unbelievable golf.
We have some video to get to with Ron McGill of animals being tickled, a stingray being tickled, a baby gorilla being tickled. Ron, who is the most ticklish of the animals that you can delight in just fooling around with, and you will get a playful creature?
I don't usually play around with the wild animals. I mean, there are some dogs that I've had that have been very ticklish, but when you get into the wild animals, of course, all the primates, you see that. And that not necessarily with the stingray there. It's not necessarily ticklish. It's more of a sensitivity. It might be kind of a defensive mechanism, because stingrays get eaten from the bottom. So it might be trying to do it.
Oh, wait a minute. So we're showing
this
a
is torture.
stingray torture video is what we're just showing.
That could be, yes, it could be. That's not necessarily.
That doesn't look
tickling.
like torture. He looks like he's having a good time.
first
He's
of all,
smiling. His lips are puckered up. He's
Yeah, well, that's you being a little anthropomorphic there. Stingrays, first of all, shouldn't be on their back. That's stressful in itself.
I don't know what that means.
Let's go ahead and it's when you give human characteristics to an animal. Let's.
I would nominate Dan if I could jump in. I would nominate my dad as the most ticklish animal.
Wow.
I could come in there and tickle him if you want. He is very ticklish.
Let's not do that.
Jess, that
Looks like you got a haircut. You look very clean cut today,
Thank
there,
you.
Greg.
Yes,
I appreciate that, Ron. Thank you.
Jess, that hell yeah with food in your mouth.
Stingrays get eaten from. I was gonna ask you.
You okay?
Oh God, you okay?
You're eating on the
pay
air.
myself $5. I was gonna ask you, Ron, because you know how humans will be like, "Don't tickle me. I'm gonna kick you. Don't do it. I'm gonna hurt you." Is that what wild animals do? But then they actually will like maul you.
Yeah. If animals maul you, it's because they are being defensive and they think they're being hurt. It's not because they're saying, I don't want to be tickled. They think you're not tickling them. They think you're going to hurt them. So that's probably where they'd be defensive that way. But, there are other animals. You can see baby chimps, baby gorillas, a lot of the apes. They're ticklish like humans. You can see youngsters. They'll actually smile and show their teeth and give that classic ticklish response. But not all these responses, as an example, that stingray, are being ticklish. They're actually being defensive.
Stugotz, we're going to play some video here of is it a gorilla? It's a baby gorilla being tickled. I think this is actually tickling as well. But I'm scared at what's walked into the room because since Greg Cody was much younger, his son, who is now an adult, can tickle him in a way that will enrage Greg Cody. Greg Cody is not...
How about we don't do that?
Oh, well, your son's in here now, and now we get to all enjoy, before this gorilla video, what Chris believes to be the most ticklish creature in the entire animal kingdom.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Come on. Get away from
Maul him, Greg. Maul his ass.
He's old now. I feel bad doing this, but I can get right under the armpit.
Get his feet. Get his feet.
Enough. Okay.
Woo!
He does not like being tickled. Let's play the baby gorilla, though, probably enjoys being tickled. This is more playful.
That is certainly more playful, yes, because that's an interaction that they would do intraspecies. Stingrays don't tickle each other, okay? But this is a bonding behavior between an adult and an infant, and that is a classic, yes, that's tickling.
Is there another animal that, if you were to tickle it, would simply disembowel you? Like that somebody would feel comfortable enough to tickle and then be surprised that the next thing they know, they've got spikes in their eyes?
A cassowary bird. If you were able to get close enough to tickle it, once you tickled it, you'd be disemboweled.
Ron, earlier in the show, we were talking about Victor Wembanyama and what he spent his first NBA check on, and he bought a Lego Millennium Falcon. Greg was unfamiliar and thought that it was an actual bird. So, is it a bad idea or a good idea to buy an actual falcon? Can we do it, and how much would it cost?
In this country, you cannot do it without a permit, without having a bird of prey falconer's permit. I don't know what the price would be. That would depend on the bird, assuming that you had the permit and you were legally able to do so. But in this country, you cannot own a bird of prey without any type of special permit.
About $100 million for Kirk Cousins.
The what?
I'll see myself.
In South Florida, there are any number of places where you will find exotic animals.
If I wanted a falcon, I could
Scotty.
get a falcon, Ron. So is it a good idea or a bad idea?
It's a bad idea. You know what? If you wanted crack cocaine, you could get it too. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
So wait, hold on. Owning a falcon is like doing crack cocaine?
They're both illegal.
How illegal is it to own a falcon? Because South Florida has a whole lot of exotic pets and illegal pets. We can't. I've got to assume, do I have this wrong? If you had to guess, South Florida has more rule breaking in this regard than any other city in the United States.
South Florida and Texas. Both of those states are pretty bad when it comes to exotic animals.
What is the strangest thing you have learned of a South Floridian owning as an animal where you would be like, how is that something that they own? They should not own that. That's not allowed.
It's the classic. It's the big cats, tigers, lions, leopards, incredibly venomous snakes, gaboon vipers, kraits, spitting cobras. People own those things in this state.
What's something that looks illegal but is not illegal that I can own so I won't get in trouble but people still think I'm a bad boy?
I can't think of one off the top of my head, Billy. You come up with the greatest questions. I don't know.
Stumped. He is stumped.
One that you can't answer.
So in the interim, let's just play him a video of a falcon on cocaine, please. Just in general, a falcon on cocaine.
2 crimes.
It's just Willie Falcone, the
that's
cigarette.
really bad. That's
one
bad.
of the cocaine cowboys. Lewis, don't ever do that again. The endowment of Ron McGill, I will tell the audience again that the endowment of Ron McGill is something that doesn't have any paperwork intermediaries. It is just him getting help to the animal kingdom. The listeners of this show have raised millions of dollars for Ron McGill's substantive endowment. He missed last week's show because of the hyena surgery. I didn't know that there was an
they
emergency.
Like being tickled, right, Ron?
The hyena.
Yeah, it was a procedure. Actually, we had to do an endoscope on a hyena because people were throwing trash onto the exhibit, and the hyena ate it. And if there's something that people can learn from this is please do not throw things on the animal habitats. Not only is it against the rules, against the law, but you can hurt an animal. This animal could have potentially died from eating this crap that people throw on there to try to get an animal's attention when it might be resting in the shade or doing something or doing nothing and they want it to do something. Folks, please, you don't understand the stress these animals can go through when we have to deal with this type of problem.
Ron, I was at the zoo a couple weeks ago, and I almost texted you because I don't remember the exact animal, but it was like a deer-like animal, and it was in that trench, that like safety trench that exists, I guess, so the animals can't come.
Yeah, in the moat. It was probably a Nyala.
Okay, yeah, I think it was. They can just go down there and get back up, and it's fine? It's nothing to be alarmed about?
Yep, no, nothing to be alarmed about. They go down in the moat all the time, sometimes just to get shade, sometimes just to have their own privacy. It's important to us that we can provide the animals a place to go where they don't feel like they're constantly on stage, so to speak. Now, sometimes the patrons get a little, I didn't see the animal this time, or it was down in the moat. Understand that we have to look out for the animals' welfare as much as we're trying to look out for the people to be engaged. So, yeah, animals have a choice to be able to be in sight line and sometimes out of sight line, and depending on the day, especially on those hot days, they're going to look for the shade.
This is something that I've been wondering for a while. Are we going to get any cicadas down here, Ron?
This is a little far south for them. It's a little warm right now. I have seen cicadas, but not these 13-year or 17-year ones that you're seeing up north right now. So we're not going to see that kind of onslaught, but they do occur here. Keep in mind there are several species of cicadas, and they do occur here, and I have seen them on occasion. It's not something very common, but I've seen them down here in South Florida.
First we don't get the eclipse, then we don't get the aurora borealis, and now we're not getting the goddamn cicadas.
We have 108-degree temperatures.
That's
for
all
you,
we
though,
get,
if you'd like. We have some of those.
Hey, Ron, in Australia, reportedly, a woman who looked just like my neighbor Shelley was swallowed whole by a 13-foot shark. Does that sound plausible? Because let's say she was 5 feet, 5.5 feet. Could a 13-foot shark swallow a woman whole?
And silently. Her friends didn't even notice she was gone, according to the report.
She was swimming with a group of friends, and nobody knew that this shark swallowed this woman whole. Plausible or no?
It's feasible if she's 5 foot tall and fairly thin framed. Yeah, that's not. I mean, it's not gonna inhale it like you would inhale. The body's this. I don't know. I'm getting into this detail. The body's going to be bitten some, but it will gulp it down as it's biting. If you ever watch a shark eat, you'll see how they do that. They just like bite, gulp. It doesn't mean that he's going to. Oh God, this is awful to talk about. But
poor Shelley.
He's going to like dismember her or tear her apart in different places. But he's going to. Why is Stugotz laughing so badly?
Well,
this is really a horrible thing I'm trying to describe here.
You have told us that a human being cannot live for very long inside of either a shark or a whale, that they would die almost immediately.
Yes, absolutely.
Even a whale?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, come on.
I've seen Pinocchio too many times.
Listen, guys, there are enzymes in your stomach, in human stomach, that if not protected by a certain lining, would just burn you up. That's when you get a bad ulcer. You get the bad digestive problems is when you don't have the lining protecting you from those enzymes that basically digest food.
But it seems like there's a lot of space in there, Ron.
Yeah.
That's all. Right,
to
get comfortable.
You know what?
What
you
if I
watch
don't
too many
touch the
Pinocchio
enzymes?
movies,
Yeah,
Stugotz.
right.
It's not Pinocchio, brother.
I feel like in a whale, I could stand on my hind legs
Yeah.
and not even be able to touch the ceiling.
Sit in a little
That's
boat
how
or
big it
something.
is.
Don't touch the enzymes. I'm all good.
Right.
How many Pinocchio movies are there?
The Sealing.
There's a couple of Pinocchio movies,
The
guys.
Sealing of a Whale. Thank you for your expertise, Greg Cody.
No problem.
Last week we were having the argument about whether a woodpecker damages its brain, face, head, beak when it pecks.
No, this is what's incredible about woodpeckers. If you were to look at them anatomically, their tongue actually goes all the way around their brain, their head. It's basically like a shock absorber. So they have this incredible shock absorber. Their tongue is so long. Every time they peck, that tongue comes out, goes all the way into the hole to get the insects. But in the meantime, it goes around their head and acts like a shock absorber. So it's an incredible anatomy that woodpeckers have that protects any kind of brain damage.
Ron, it is always good seeing you. Thank you for making the time. I will tell the listeners again, if you want a good cause, Ron McGill really does help the animals. I'm here to vouch for it, and he is an honorable man, and only occasionally does he buy, with your charitable funds, clothing and Cadillacs. Thank you, Ron. Good seeing you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Real quick, because Pablo was on with us, and he said he wants his basketball games, his sporting events, to feel like the biggest thing in the world. John Tesh is going to join us later.
Oh,
John Tesh has given us the only exclusive rights to music that we have around here. His song, Does This Sound Like Your Sporting Event, is the biggest on the planet.
Wow.
He just gave it over to us. He owns that sound. He
Amazing.
gave it to us. And John Tesh is going to join us to make us happy with that music later. This man is a true renaissance man of journalism, of music, a 6-time Emmy Award winner, 2-time Grammy nominee. And this video I'm going to play for him and for the audience, I believe is as confident as an American male can be under any circumstances. This is John Tesh knowing that he's got a hit song on his hands and also a crowd in the palm of his hand. Watch this. Yes, there it is. There it is. Yes, he knows it. Look at him. His soul is soaring, and we soar with him.
His masterpiece.
Yes. Well, yes. This is allegedly, according to Stugotz, the greatest sports anthem ever made.
Wow.
Right up there with "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and he gave it to us the last time he was on.
One silent moment.
Yes. No, not one silent moment. It's this and "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
It's one shining moment.
Yes, I don't know what one silent moment is.
You didn't find me, though.
I can't keep up with your mistakes. John, thank you for being on with us. One silent moment is what he described.
Would be an odd name for a song.
It really would be strange.
Silent Nights.
Perhaps. John, thank you for joining us. Certainly this fills you with the greatest of happiness, right? It fills you, that song makes you as happy as it makes us, correct?
Well, first of all, thank you. Yeah, yes, it does. And you know what? The funniest thing about this song is that when I found out that I was working for, I was doing the Tour de France bike race as an announcer back in 1990. And when I found out that through the sports grapevine, the NBC wanted, or they were looking, they had just taken the coverage away from maybe with CBS, and they were looking for a new theme. And so I thought, wow, what would that sound like? And you know the story about the whole answering machine thing. But when it was on the air, it was just another sports theme. And so it really didn't become anything until people started learning it on YouTube, you know, and then people sort of longing back for the nostalgia of the, Marv Alberts, Michael Jordan, Celtics versus the Lakers rivalry. And so that's when it really became something else, which was a big surprise for me.
Well, you have told us the answering machine story, but for those who might not be familiar with it, because it's a legendary story, and I don't know if you have anything that sticks to you the way this song sticks to you, because I imagine all over sports fans are trying to talk to you about this.
Well, and what happened was, I was actually, when I was hired at CBS to do the anthology sports, it's like the downhill skiing and figure skating and gymnastics and all that. I was working on the Tour de France bike race, and I'd heard through the grapevine that they were looking for a theme. And so in the middle of, I was in McGavin, France, and we were getting ready to do the next stage of the tour. And I was thinking, what would nobody knew me as a musician. I thought, what would it sound like? And so I woke up at 2:00, and when I tell this story on stage, people always laugh because they've done it. I woke up at 2:00 in the morning with a theme in my head, And I thought I didn't have a keyboard. I didn't have a recording device, no iPhone. And so I thought the only way for me, if I go to sleep, that it's going to be gone. So I called my answering machine back in the States, back in New York. I left a message for myself. And when I tell that story on stage, people they're laughing. I think, why are people laughing? It's because everybody's done that. It's usually like, well, Brett, you bring home some milk. Do that. So it was 2 messages, and the first one was my voice picks up, and it's like, hey, there's John. There's nobody home right now. Please leave a message. The sound of the tone, So I leave. And he cut me off, and I call back, which is about like $150 for a phone call from Regis France and like 35 numbers. And I call back and say, here's the rest of it. I started to, and I got home 2 weeks later, and I checked my messages on my answering machine, and I had 2. Both from me. Damn. They were this, and so I took the answering machine and put it on my piano, and I said, "Let me figure it out," And so I said, "Well, this might be something." And so I got the band together, and I thought, I know how these guys at sports think, and I'd known Ebersol because he was, he was a friend of mine, and so what I did was I figured out what the fast break was, and it was so disco is is 120 beats a minute, but a fast break is like 132, almost like a rap tune or EDM. And so I set the tempo at that. And then to sort of eliminate what they would have to do in their brains, I didn't send a cassette. I went into a studio. There's no laptop editing back then. I went to a studio and I got a bunch of highlights from the NBA. I edited it to the music, and so I sent in a VHS tape, not a cassette tape. And so when they looked at that, they were like, "Well, it was a simple phone call. Hey, John, this is Dick Ebersol. This is your song. What's it called?" And I was like, "Roundball Rock." I sort of made up something, and he said, "Well, this will work. Let us play it for 30 years and put 2 of your kids through college." And it was pretty much that simple, but it was just, I was writing themes. And so for me, it was just another theme. I thought, well, it sounds right. And then once they debuted it, I think it was a San Antonio Spurs game, I was on the road again, and I knew that it was going to be debuted. And so I went into a bar, in the middle of the afternoon. I'm sitting there with everybody, and they're watching the game. And all of a sudden the theme comes on, ba, 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 da, ba, da, 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 da. And I'm just like, anybody, and nobody, and so the bartender's there, and I go, hey, you hear that music? And he's like, yeah, I hear it. I wrote that music. He goes, oh, great. Do you want another beer? So
nobody cared. How often?
I was very impressed with myself, but nobody else in the bar.
How often? Well, you should be, because it rocks. But how often have you been moved to that kind of inspiration to leave yourself a message on an answering machine? Has that happened often?
Yeah, that's a great question. Pretty much every week after it debuted, I did it. So I have, I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 tapes of me just going, but nothing ever happened. So I figured, and I've kept the answering machine. I have the machine, and I have the tape.
Brother, you have a wonderful, phenomenal voice. Have you ever thought about voice acting or reading like ASMR books? Like, it's incredible, brother.
He's got a great broadcast.
I appreciate it. Yeah, ASMR would be great. It would just be like,
Yeah.
It's amazing that that's become popular now.
Amazing.
John, did I hear you correctly? The title "Roundball Rock" was almost off the top of your head. What would have been the alternative title had you not come up with that?
It would be like, theme number 32 or something. I mean, it's an instrumental song, so I had no. Yeah, it was definitely. I mean, I think I'd written it down like that, but early on, people were making fun of like Roundball Rock. What the heck is that? And so, my greatest accomplishment musically in my life is that Roundball Rock actually has its own Wikipedia page. I discovered this.
Wow, so cool.
Like, that's it. That's all I need.
But you've got an accomplished music career. This you wouldn't regard this as your greatest musical achievement, or would you?
No, I mean, probably Live at Red Rocks, which was the PBS special that I mean, it's a long story, but I was working at Entertainment Tonight in 1993, and I kept sending out tapes of my music, which I'd done for sporting events for years. I mean, golf themes and NFL and all the rest of that stuff. And I mean, and musicians love this because working for the network, right? I always knew when they needed a theme, and so I would just give it away. I would say, "Hey," and then you can just sort of live on the BMI royalties. And so I was writing themes all the time, but not until that Red Rocks thing where PBS took a chance on us and we took a chance, putting it together, did things change for me. We went from selling 50 records a month to 35,000, and that's when I left Entertainment Tonight.
Did it birth your music career? Did that moment birth your change of path, where you didn't want to be a television person anymore? Because Entertainment Tonight, for those who do not know, it was as big a show as we had in the United States, right? It was one of the bigger name brands in television.
Yeah, I was telling somebody the other day about it because, when I walk into a Starbucks now, people are like, "Hey, didn't you used to be John Tesh?" I'm like, "Yes." And there'll be some old guy in the back who'll go, "Hey, he was on Entertainment," and then they're like, "What was that?" And so I basically tell them a story about, in 1986 when I was on there with Mary Hart. 23 million people a night watched that. There's really no cable or anything. And the only time that you could, I was having this conversation with my daughter. The only time you could see a movie trailer was either in the movies or on ET. And so it was that popular. The problem with it is that when I was, going after all these labels trying to get signed, I think the guy, I think it was Clive Davis said, I don't know that we're interested in having the guy who reads the celebrity birthdays on the same label as Kenny G, So
that's funny. So you weren't serious enough. What you were doing was too much cotton candy for the music industry. I wish
I'd said that.
Wow.
Yeah, but you're laughing all the way to the bank, so screw them.
Right. And artistically, you got to do something evidently that's a lot more meaningful to you creatively.
Yeah. The great thing about ET was that they recognized that I sort of had one foot out, and and Mary Hart and all the producers there, every time I did a concert, they would promote it and stuff. So it was really, I just couldn't do both at the same time. I wrote a book called Relentless, which is, back in 2015, I was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer and given 18 months to live, not to cast a gloom on the interview, but that was a horrible time for me. And it was, I think, going through the chemo and all the rest of it, being able to still sit down and play piano was real medicine for me. And also, there was a pile of prayer in there and medicine as well. But it was, I grew up as a musician. I grew up, playing my scales on Long Island, not far from Billy Joel. Everybody was in a garage band. I was born in 52, and everybody was in a garage band on Long Island. And Billy Joel was in a band called the Hassles. And I was in a band called the Best of Both Worlds, which had two bands that broken up and became one. And it was a Blood, Sweat, and Tears cover band. And so Billy's band was very popular. And so we were in a rivalry. It really wasn't much of a rivalry because if Billy didn't want the gig, then we got it. So Billy was like, and the Hassles like the Hassles, and we were like RC Cola. That's really, my whole life was music, basically.
Well, according to Sports Business Journal, NBC has now offered $2.5 billion a year to get back the rights to the NBA to create a basketball night in America. Bill Simmons is saying, quote, "It's a wrap," and Charles Barkley says he's going to be on LinkedIn tomorrow. Has NBC reached out to you about reviving Roundball Rock?
They have, actually, yeah.
Yes.
They it's nothing, firm. But they said, "Hey, can you stay frosty on this?" It's like a Navy SEALs thing, because we'd love to talk to you about it. And we're actually talking right now about licensing it to them for the Olympics in Paris.
Oh,
which is always great. Yeah, I love. So we're actually going in at the end of June. We're heading to Nashville, and we got a full orchestra on hold. We're going to re-record it. Because it's the recording I think it still sounds great, but I wanted to make a few changes, maybe open up the middle, maybe we'll send it to you guys. You could turn it into an EDM track, that kind of stuff.
You gonna upcharge NBC, or what do you think?
It's just a licensing fee, So I figure if they're spending, what is it? What did you say? 2.5 billion?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'll take $1 billion a year.
There you go.
Are you going to update the song? Is there a version of the song that has lyrics?
Oh, if you need a verse, let me know.
Yeah. Saturday Night Live. Yeah.
The Saturday Night Live clip. Do you guys have this? So you're telling me that this is a real story? What I thought was a spoof, you're telling me is a real story? Let's play that clip for John Tesh.
All right, fire away. All right, ready to do this?
Yes, I am.
All right, 2, 3, 4.
Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it.
That can't be the lyric. That's not the lyrics. That's not that's not.
No, that's the lyrics. That's the lyrics. So my wife and I were on like a weekend vacation. We ran into Vince Vaughn. He was with his son. He was in the buffet line at this place called Paradise.
No, he's telling us a story.
Connie, she's great. My wife Connie Selleck is great. She comes running up to him, and he's my size. I mean, he's 6'6" easily, and she goes, "Hey, this is my husband John. Do you remember the thing you did on him and with the Roundball Rock basketball team?" And he remembered the whole thing. It was great. I thought we were like stalking him, but
this is a true story. Those were the lyrics, John.
No, they made up this. Saturday Night Live made up those lyrics.
Okay, so there were no lyrics, right?
No, and I don't have a brother named Dave.
So there are no lyrics. There's no one who's asked you to put lyrics on the song. It's perfect the way that it is. It doesn't need any changes.
A lot like this sounds like you're auditioning for a co-writing thing. I'm in if you want to put lyrics in it.
Say less.
Juju,
done.
I'm in.
Deal.
Juju,
I'm gonna send a verse over to you. COB tomorrow.
Open up that middle.
All right.
But the words are already basketball.
Let's play for John the difference between these two songs. I'd like for him to explain to me the difference between the only version of the song that I've known that starts like this. Flawless, perfect, reminds me of a time, makes basketball more epic, but the other version that's longer has this in it. Even bigger. Perfect. Even bigger. Yeah. So explain to me the difference between what's happening there and why have I not heard that second one more?
I actually couldn't hear it. I just saw dancing.
Okay.
But, I don't know.
Imagine what you were thinking, but a lot grander.
Yeah. If he can't hear it, that makes it hard. Chris Cody, you want to try it again for the man so that he can... It's got some Star Wars to it. It feels a bit intergalactic.
Did you hear that one?
You're talking about the intros, a longer intro?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think they wanted to get to the song faster in the second one. But based on what I've seen on video right now, I think the second one's probably better because I saw more dancing.
That's good. Good enough. John,
we crushed that.
John, thank you. You especially. John, thank you for being on with us. We always appreciate the time, and we will always appreciate the song. I can't believe we're breaking news here. There's going to be a new version of this. NBC is going to fix all the bad will it creates by ending Charles Barkley's studio show, but replacing it with the glorious remake of this. Yeah. I think it'll be enough to soothe sports fans.
Stay firm at $1 billion, John, okay?
Yes.
John, we're playing your song in case you can't hear it.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Basketball.
Dunk it.
Where's Weird Ass Ruiz at?
All right, he's been called out again. Weird Ass Ruiz. We'll see if he returns. Paul Pierce is eating something. Pierce, what are you eating? What is that breakfast you put together? You got a gnarled, dislocated finger there?
I got a sausage McMuffin from McDonald's.
Nice.
Okay, last time you came on, you were brushing your teeth. I feel like you're sort of actively trying to disrespect the television process around here. Oh, look. Okay, you got
a... There he is behind me. Jesus.
Okay,
mid-bite, Dan.
All right, so...
I can't be on TV with the stuff in my teeth.
Paul, why do you go McMuffin and not McGriddle? The one that's like a pancake with the syrup inside.
That's a good question.
We stumped you, huh?
What happened? You don't. You got to do better here. He's offered you an option you didn't know was available.
I'm a '70s baby. We grew up on these. Those wasn't available.
Okay, so it's a bit of nostalgia. It's some childhood for you. You taste your childhood there.
Like I hardly eat it, but it's like a quick fix, pretty much.
All right, we will find.
All right, what's up, gang?
All right, we'll find.
I'm up.
All right, Weird Ass Ruiz is somewhere around here.
Weird Ass Ruiz around here.
I think he's boycotting you and everything about the Celtics. You pulled one out of your ass last night. Jaylen Brown
never
made that shot before in his life.
Man, we can't play like that if we get to the finals versus these teams in the West. Seriously, I thought the game was over. I was like, pretty much any good team, we lose that game. I mean, not that Indiana's not a good team, but you know what I'm saying. Like Denver or Minnesota or Dallas, one of them teams is not giving that game away. So hopefully that was a wake-up call. You know, we've had quite a few wake-up calls in the playoffs, especially at home, but in this case, we had a wake-up call to where we won the game. So hopefully, you know, they'll play better, you know, moving forward.
There's been quite the debate today, Paul, about whether or not Jason Tatum had a good game or a bad game last night. So I will ask you, did he have a good game or a bad game last night?
I mean, I just look at it as defensively, nobody played well. Yeah, when you look at the numbers, you wake up and you see the 30-plus points, and for the most part, he played well. You know, he made some big buckets. You know, obviously that and one down the stretch, what was that, in overtime, that kind of sealed it. You know, he did what he had to do to help the team win, but he knows he could play better. And that's the scary part. When you look at it and you see the numbers that he put up and you say he could play better, you know, that's just the standard that, you know, I think we all hold him to.
But what do you make of the fact that for long stretches, he's absent? What do you do?
Well, no, you know what? I think they settle for too many threes. And I think, you know, Jason sometimes, you know, they get complacent with the three ball and they got to just, you know, sometimes get to the free throw line or attack the rim with some aggression from the post or from the perimeter. But I think that has a lot to do with the point guard. That has a lot to do with, you know, the guys out there, the coach. Like, at some point, you know, when I played, if I didn't touch the ball for like, and I go invisible for, I'll be like, hold on, you know, we got to bring it this way in the timeout, or Rajon, I'll be like, man, come on, you know, I'm our scorer. So, you know, we bring it this way. You got to keep me going. So, you know, a lot of that is a combination of him and the team and who's out on the court with him.
Would you trade right now, before Game 2, Jason Tatum for Anthony Edwards? Straight up.
No, I think right now that Tatum is the more mature player, but Edwards, he's on his way. You know, this is his first great playoff run. Hey man, who is that?
Who are you looking at?
That's Ruiz.
Who are you looking at? I don't know. Are you looking at Ruiz?
Oh, you see
Hey man, look me in my eyes when you're on TV, dude. Don't be looking away.
Well, wait a minute. He's in another room. Ruiz, now weird-ass Ruiz,
look
come
me in my face.
All right.
Get in here, Mike.
Come on, Mike. You're being summoned. You didn't want to be a part of it. You were boycotting it, but he wants you to look him in his face when you talk
Look me
to him.
in my face when you come on camera and address me.
Well, he's outside of the room. He wasn't addressing you. I think he was cleaning his ears, but now he's coming in because you requested him. So he is defiantly and angrily coming in here, and he's got Q-tips in every ear for reasons I don't totally understand. Look, Paul,
show up to work on time. Show up to work on time.
Oh, Paul, that's rich coming from you. I've been waiting around for 40 minutes.
Show up, please.
What is your problem with Ruiz?
I just don't like his I don't like his beard.
Huh.
I just
doing
don't.
the beard thing again? I don't like your face.
Yeah, he tries to emulate.
I don't like your lack of success in the postseason. I don't like the fact that you wore green and then you went to wear white. But there's one constant.
I'm a Kendrick Lamar him. I don't like his lineup. I don't like his beard. I don't like his clothes. I don't like the girls he talked to.
You remember that ratty ass thing you were playing with? I remember your beard. At least this guy can grow a full one. Come on.
I'm gonna just Kendrick Lamar you. I just don't like
that beard. Not like us. Your beard, not like us. Oh, real. Speaking of real, those chompers are looking nice. I don't know who you got for that, but hit me on the side, DM me the rec, because that is, I'd be brushing them nonstop too if I got those chompers. Is there a porcelain shortage? What's going on now? I'm back to boycotting. I'm going to disappear like Jason Tatum for 13 minutes.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
What happened to that Jalen Brunson jersey that you were stomping on? Why did you do that? Where did you get a Brunson jersey? I didn't know you had any problems with Jalen Brunson or the Knicks.
I don't have no problem with Jalen Brunson. I had to tell people this wasn't about Jalen Brunson. I had to get a New York Knicks jersey because I lost a bet because I didn't think the Knicks would get out the first round. And I said I would wear a Knicks jersey on the podcast if they win versus Philly. So they won, so I got the jersey. I didn't even care whose jersey it was. I mean, who cares? just for the simple fact I'm wearing a New York Knicks jersey, it's just hurtful anyway. So I wore it, and then when they lost, I'm like, I don't need this no more. So, we jumped them. It didn't matter who it was. You could have sent me a DiVincenzo jersey or whoever. OG Anunoby. This had nothing to do with it. This wasn't no.
You had to burn a jersey. That's it. That's what
I had to take down a Knicks jersey. That's it.
Okay.
I feel like you chose the two hardest names for you to pronounce on the Knicks.
That's all they have outside of Brunson.
I know. There weren't a lot of guys that were healthy for them. Let me play some sound for you here of Kevin Garnett on with Stephen A. Smith. I want to get your thoughts here on whether these mixed allegiances are okay by you if Boston does get to face Minnesota in the finals.
If Boston ends up facing the Timberwolves for the championship, what's that going to be like for you, KJ?
And that's a win-win for me. I win both ways. You understand? I win. If Boston and Minnesota makes it to the finals,
he got the jersey.
I know I've won. Period. And I'm the chairman of the boards of the 50-50 club. Nobody else can do this but me. You understand what I'm saying? I'm also a client.
Oh man, come on. Now you know what it is? He must have got in good with ownership now. With Minnesota, because he was off them for a while, so that's why he trying to play both sides. KG think he's slick, he think he's slick, that's all good. But he got alliance with both of them. He spent his whole childhood in Minnesota, and then came to Boston and obviously won a championship. So I'm not even mad at him on that one.
But he is slick because that smile at the end, and his teeth are almost as nice as yours there with that smile. But KG is also crazy, right? Like you have all the stories of KG is his intensity.
Yeah, that smile look weird, huh?
Well, his intensity is just nuts. It's just, I don't know what it's like. Explain to us what it's like to be friends with him. It must be relentless.
Oh, you always got to have your bulletproof vest on. He'll come. Hey, look, if he smells signs of weakness, he got you. No, that's just him, man. He don't got no off button. Y'all know that. I mean, it looked like he was getting ready for Game 7 in that interview with Stephen A. It was like, damn. He was like, oh, I got both teams ready, Lord, and I'll be ready. It's like every time he talk, he go into a lather. I'm like, damn, dog, chill out. We just chilling in the backyard watching the game.
It's a great KG.
It is.
You just go into a lather. He'd be like, Lord, Lord, I got both teams.
The Truth Lounge with Paul Pierce is every Friday on the DraftKings Network.
What is this cowboy doing, man?
All right.
Looking like the character from Toy Story.
He's doing mouthwash, it looks like. Do you want him again? God. You want to talk again to Weird Ass Ruiz? Again, you want to
keep weirdo over there, man. I don't know what he's doing right. He's going through a midlife crisis.
I want to ask you about J.J. Redick. He is saying on television last night, you got to foul when you're up by 3. LeBron was tweeting video of the podcast in real time saying the same thing. And now Shams is reporting that the Lakers think that J.J. Redick has, quote, Pat Riley-like potential. J.J. Redick as the coach of the Lakers, puppet or pal?
I don't know. You know what? Be honestly, JJ does have great basketball insight, and I do enjoy listening to him. So, I don't know how that translates, but we've seen Steve Kerr do it. We've seen Doc Rivers do it. So maybe he got a shot. You know what I'm saying? But to go to a team with demanding personalities such as LeBron, I mean, I know he has a good friendship with him. And AD, that's a difficult spotlight to be in for your first head coaching job. But maybe he does have Pat Riley like. I mean, of course, you can kind of think you can emulate that, but you got to understand Pat Riley is one of the greatest to ever do it. So if you think you can bring JJ along for the ride, but the window with LeBron is short, so if they don't get it done, he'll be on the hot seat. So that's a hot seat job right there. So I don't know. I don't know how to call that one.
But if the window is indeed short, what do you make because last time you were on with us, or 2 times ago, you mentioned that you were as awed by LeBron James still doing this as the oldest player in the league as the rest of us were.
Yeah, for sure.
But what do you make of the power to hire your own coach, to get your son drafted higher than he would otherwise be drafted? What do you make of the value and power at this age?
Well, I mean, you got to understand what LeBron has brought to the game, man. He's one of the most influential players of this generation, if not the most influential when it comes to like on court, off the court, situations. He's changed the landscape on free agency, on contracts, on how you move to different teams, and his friends getting into the general agent game, and just he's. It's just what it is. I mean, he's shown, how to manipulate the system, as we should say it, but rightfully so. He's one of the greatest to ever do it. So he should have some input when big decisions are being made for a franchise that he's won a championship for and, possibly going to get his number retired at.
Paul, would you draft Bronny number 1 overall to get 2 years of LeBron James if you felt like you were LeBron James away from winning a title?
And it's a bad draft.
Like a team like the Knicks, okay?
Nah, I'll be realistic about it. I wouldn't draft him number 1 overall because, it's probably some guys in the draft that probably have a better upside. We talking about a 6'1" guard with athleticism we haven't seen a number 1 pick like that since Allen Iverson, but we all know who Allen Iverson was. I think you could get him in late first round, second round, or even in free agency. I don't think it has to be that dramatic to where you pick him up as the first pick just to try to see if you can get LeBron.
What happened to your finger?
I dropped a plate on it, man. I was doing a plank, straight arm plank, with the 45-pound plate on my back, and I was walking, on my hands, sliding my feet with the circle sliders. And then as you step this way, my back turned and the plate slid off and smashed my finger.
Man.
Yeah, it came completely off.
Hate when that happens.
That's a fired trainer.
You hate when that happens.
Yeah,
huh?
you got to fire your trainer. Like, what is that? Your trainer can't let that happen.
Yeah, I was pissed at the trainer because he was standing right there holding the plate up, and then I felt it sliding, and he's just standing there. Oh yeah, man, I'm changing trainers, man. He fainted too when he saw it, so I'm done with him.
Did he really?
You just fired him?
Yeah.
He fainted and you just fired him, but he actually fainted because he realized his job was over.
No, he fainted because the weight came down, smashed the finger. The finger looked like it came off and blood went everywhere, and he just fainted.
Is he okay?
And I just looked at it. I got up, put some towels on it, and drove myself to the hospital and got surgery.
Paul, that's a disaster. Like that,
he should be fired.
What you just described is a real disaster. By how long?
See, I got a pin in it.
He's got a pin in it, keeping it together.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
How long have you had this trainer?
Just since last summer, man. But he's done. He's done.
That seems like a soft core issue more for you, Truth, that you were going through and you were a little weak on one side and it slid down.
It wasn't weak. I was, sometimes it's hard to like keep the balance on the back with a 45 plate. So, what is this dude doing over here? Man, this dude got some issues over here. Ruiz,
get in
Wake
here.
up.
Weird ass Ruiz, get in here again.
Ruiz, is it Ruiz or Ruiz?
It's Ruiz.
Ruiz.
Whatever you want it to be.
Ruiz. It is Hispanic. Get in here, Ruiz.
Ruiz.
He wants to know what you're doing. You seem to be handling a whole bunch of disrespectful hygiene stuff while we're interviewing
Paul.
Paul
Hey, get in the
Pierce.
room while I'm talking, Ruiz.
Okay, he wants to talk to your face again because you've been grooming yourself the entirety of this interview.
This is not time off when I come on the show. Get your ass in the room and sit down.
Wow. Now
I'm talking.
Well, now wait a minute.
I'm talking.
Okay.
Who are you talking to like that? Not Rasho Nastarovich.
Hey, I'm talking. So get on the set.
Okay, he has demanded. Yeah, you got to be careful with that alpha shit, Paul. You're not his boss. I am, and he's only coming in here because you're summoning him. And
no,
we have
he
to
has
do
to go
the
to
segment.
work. Does he or does he not have to be at work today?
You want me to continue working you like I did just 5 minutes ago? I see those shiny, beautiful pearly whites.
You can't get him, bro. You can't get him.
No,
I'm not telling you my doctor.
I'm sorry about your finger, by the way. I heard you kind of dance around the Jason Tatum stuff, and yeah, it's game 1, and yeah, it's the
They
Indiana
won,
Pacers.
dog. Listen, why? You know what's so crazy? Why we don't give the same criticism to these other stars when they do the same exact thing?
Yeah, no, I appreciate
No,
that you
I
mentioned
ain't
that.
like when Luka didn't play well one game, nobody said nothing.
I
It ain't
appreciate
like-
that. No, I appreciate that,
Anthony-
and that is actually at the heart of like all of my Jason Tatum criticisms, because I actually think, and it's funny because you have your perspective on it being a Boston guy, but I actually think that Jason Tatum's been handled with kid gloves. I actually think
No,
that
but
if
how
other
about nobody talked about he led the team in points, rebounds, assists, and steals in the first round. I never heard that come up.
No, he's a great player, and I think. Look, I'm not
And
saying
they've only lost 2, and their record is 9-2 in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, they
Easy
have
teams.
Dude, they've been playing on a flat track, and you know this. But it's okay. Like, my whole thing with Jason Tatum.
36 points and 12 rebounds.
Cool, and a
What you want
13
him to do?
13 and a half minute stretch in which he was totally
So,
invisible.
you know what? He didn't go for 50, guys. He didn't go for 50.
Well,
I'm like, Jesus,
no,
Christ, what does the guy have to do?
He just wasn't the guy during crunch time, and you guys almost lost that game if it were not for Rick Carlisle forgetting how to coach.
Yeah, 10
because
points in
part,
overtime.
I understand that he ate from the
Did we
line
win the
after
game,
with
yes or
90
no?
seconds left in the game.
Did they win?
Well, if that's what we're doing, yeah, they won against a 6-seed Indiana Pacers. All I want is for Jason Tatum to be treated like the other stars. I mean, you know how the immense pressure that you guys had to deal with when you made all those moves. You know the pressure that the Miami Heat had to deal with that came with building a roster like that. Jason Tatum is always this far deep, and it's quantifiable. Tom Haberstroh has done great pieces on that. This player does seem to go missing occasionally, or his metrics dip. Now, that you could say that for a lot of players. The game gets tighter, defense gets better, shooting splits go down, but his go way down in bizarre ways. And there was a 13-minute stretch there last night when the game is on the line where he's deferring to other guys on the team. So I'm not saying he's incapable of doing this, and I know he's got like a 50-point Game 7 in his archive not too long ago. I want to see it. I want to see the game's greats ascend to greatness when big-time moments present themselves. He's done it a couple of times. I want to see him do it in this round, and then I'm going to do the sports radio thing of saying I want to see it in the finals.
You did it, Paul. You did it.
25, 33, 33, 25, 36.
Has there ever been a stretch?
That's the last 5 games.
Paul, has there ever been a stretch in your career, because you're a guy that's reputed to be a bucket getter, a dog, a guy that thrives for those moments. I didn't call bank, I called game. So, has there ever been a moment with a game on the line in a playoff game where you go scoreless for 13 and a half minutes? Moreover, you barely touch the ball. As soon as you get the ball, you hand it off to Derek White.
I got to take this call. Hey, hello? Yeah, man, I'm talking to weird-ass Ruiz right now, man. I'm going to hit you back in a little bit. You going to be there? All right, yeah. He over here talking some phony shit about Jason Tatum. Let me holler back. All right, man, bye.
We
All right,
could
what was
see
you
you
saying?
didn't answer. The phone was
off.
Yeah.
I didn't-
Tried to sell
the
it.
phone
though.
was off.
Good attempt, Paul. I mean,
The phone was off. So maybe there has been, but I don't know. Maybe there has been in your career, but I just find it very bizarre that he goes missing for 13 and a half minutes straight. But as you were, I'm just grooming myself. I don't find that at all weird when people do hits.
All right, see you later. He's an NBA champion. There's the evidence right there, Paul Pierce, that you're a terrible
I didn't answer
actor.
the phone.
Your phone.
See the answer the phone thing.
He's an NBA champion. He's a Hall of Famer. He's been stirring up shit for years. Check out new episodes of The Truth Lounge with Paul Pierce every Friday on the DraftKings Network and all the Smoke Productions on YouTube. There it is. We have exposed it with our investigative team. That is not a phone call.
Phonier than those teeth.
That he... See you later, Paul. Good.
All right, y'all, man. Good talking to y'all always.
See you, Paul.
See you later.
They got me.
Yeah, gotcha journalism. We got him with the journalism. Excellent work. They got me. Mike, I don't think I have ever seen disrespect administered in the way that is just Q-tips and cleaning your elbows and doing what lotion.
Moisturizing.
Like, what the hell
And
were
Paul
you
seems
do-
to like it.
Yeah, he seems to delight in
I
the
take
back
my
and
hints
forth.
from others. Apparently, he's normalized grooming yourself during interviews, so I just took it to the next level. Got one up him.
Hey, he had the Q-tip. He had the... Y'all funny as hell.
I'll never speak to you again. I hate you, Paul Pierce. I hate you.
Why don't you introduce yourself to a comedy legend here, Chris Cody? Go ahead. I can't believe we've got, and I can say this is a comedy legend because this is a comedy legend. I will not have anyone say otherwise. Why don't you introduce him the way that you like to introduce generally dogs?
What up, doggy?
Triumph the Insult Comic Dog.
Beautiful.
Is with
Thank
us. You're welcome. Thank you for being on with us. He's a legend, and he has a game show, Triumph the Insult Comic Dogs. Let's make a poop.
Let's make a poop. Yes.
You can watch.
I am here.
You can
It's
watch
all about the poop.
the live special on Triumph's YouTube channel, Triumph the Insult Comic Dog HQ, and on Team Coco's YouTube channel. Conan.
It's that good. It's that good. It's on 2 channels.
He is here, though, covering the Donald Trump trial for us from New York. Very happy to have you, Triumph. Thank you for joining us.
It's an honor to be here, Dan. But look, I'm a fan of the show, and I have to, before we get into the Trump stuff, I just have to talk about, because you guys, this is way beyond sports. You guys break news all the time. Like just the other day on Twitter, I see the headline, breaking. NBC has contacted John Tesh about reviving the iconic NBA on NBC theme song, Roundball Rock. Well, of course, I hurried to click. I hurried. I couldn't wait. I figured out how to do it. I don't have a thumb, but it worked out. And I see the clip, and you guys have Tesh on, and you're talking about it like this is a great thing, and you're celebrating. Oh, yes, even though we're losing inside the NBA, at least we're getting Roundball Rock. Hooray. What a great deal. We're trading Charles Barkley for John Tesh. That's a fair trade. Maybe we can trade Kenny Smith for Yanni. You realize this is the only good show left on regular television inside the NBA. It's better than half the games. But no, it's more important. We get to hear that old song again when the game starts. A song nobody under 40 gives a shit about. No, you can't curse? Can I curse?
Yes, you can curse. But I think you need to ask Robert to move his ear a little bit so that we can.
You over here. Get with the program. The guy's like 80 years old. Cut him some slack.
What an amateur. Well, you've been on television for a long time. You would think he'd be able to.
Wait a minute. You call this television? Slow down. Slow down.
Let's talk about the big
well, no. I have more. You guys, you're all there talking. Oh, Teshi, you're going to get an orchestra. Hooray. For what? That whatever the What's the other? It sounds just like the TBS song. What's that? It's all the same song.
Triumph.
Seriously, even the CBS one before Tesh. Do you remember that one? It's all the same lyrics. There's no difference. It's like saying, "Hey, we're losing Charles Barkley, but instead of Sprite, you're going to get to drink 7-Up." Fantastic. Like makes no difference.
Come on.
Is the point? And now you know who's really at fault? We're losing the best show. That David Zaslav guy. You know who that is? He owns Warner Brothers now.
Yes.
Yes, the cheapskate. We all learned about him during the writer's strike. He didn't want to pay the money. And now, I don't, what's he going to replace it with? He's going to replace everything with Shark Week, I think.
Can we get
he loves Shark Week. He loves Shark Week because fish don't need health insurance. But I want to say one more thing. Tuesday's show, the passion that Mike guy had getting dragged out. That was so inspiring.
Mike Ryan, Ruiz.
Mike, yes, bravely yelling chicken shit as he's being pulled out of the room, screaming Jason Tatum stats. It was like those kids protesting global warming. It was exactly like that when the Chevron CEO is speaking, It's important, though, Dan, to stand up for what matters. Like our planet being poisoned or Jason Tatum not being great in the playoffs. Like the old saying, first they came for Jason Tatum being good in the playoffs and I did not speak out. Then they came for Karl Anthony Towns taking too many three-pointers, and I did not speak out.
Can we
Good
talk
for
about
Mike.
the trial or no?
Yes, the trial. Yes, here we go. The trial.
And please, I ask you, Triumph, be careful with Robert's ear and his hair. It keeps getting in the shot.
My God, okay. Seriously, suddenly you guys are perfectionists on the show. You let the psychopath scream about Jason Tatum for a half an hour, and you're worried about the Jew's ear? Fine, whatever it takes.
The trial.
Oh, yes.
What's
been very exciting. Yes, New York's been flooded with reporters because this is, of course, the least important of the Trump cases, but the only one that involves a porn star.
That's true.
Oh, we're on pins and needles. You guys, who do you think is going to win in the case? The bleached blonde with the huge jugs or Stormy Daniels? You know, the stakes are so high. That's why people are here. I mean, if Trump is found guilty, there's such high stake. Think about it. If Trump is found guilty, he could serve up to 4 years in the White House. I'm sorry. I feel bad for the guy, you know? The one time he actually pays someone, they indict him for it. The guy can't catch a break. You know, if this can happen to Trump, it can happen to you guys, right?
No.
Am I right? I mean, okay, maybe not. I mean, you guys would never need to pay a woman hush money, as if any woman after having sex with you would tell anyone. Amin, is Amin there?
Yes, he's here. Yes, be careful.
I mean, it's got to be strange, this whole thing, for you to hear about women being paid for their silence, since when you would pay extra for them to be loud.
Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, who you been talking to?
I just picked your name at random.
No, this is why Amin doesn't like dogs.
This is one of the many reasons. Trump has been able to delay his other cases, though.
Yes, he has. He's been so successful at getting cases delayed, they made him an honorary Southwest Airlines pilot. But
that cigar's
Stormy, that was exciting when Stormy came.
What was that like?
Wait.
Oh, I tell you, everyone was so thrilled. I mean, it was historic. After 17 years, Trump finally made her come. Fatum.
He does his own.
He does his own rim
Listen,
shot.
the women, I'm sure the women on your staff must feel some sisterhood with Stormy Daniels. I mean, even Pablo Torre must relate in some way. I mean, because I have to assume tons of guys have offered Pablo money just to keep his mouth shut as well.
We can't see the trial, but I do find it, I guess, moderately compelling whenever Trump emerges during the breaks and rants sort of nonsensically.
Oh,
to
yeah,
the
it's a
camera.
corrupt judge, the most crooked judge in the history of the world. But he also farts constantly. And even worse, he throws the sound of his farts across the room to make it seem like other people are doing it. He ventriloquarts. He's so full of shit. Trump's farts are so bad the defense team had to bring in Post Malone as an air freshener. You see, because he smells. Trump's defense team nicknamed him Saddam Hussein because he won't stop gassing his own people.
Oh, come on.
Too soon.
What? That's what? Too soon? Too soon from 20 years ago. Oh my God. You know, but he deserves it, man. The guy's sleazy. Do you know Trump wasn't wearing a condom when he had sex with Stormy?
Yeah.
He pulled out so fast you'd think her vagina was NATO.
The cigar is falling apart, Triumph. He does
That's
seem
part of the act. That's part of the act.
He seems unhinged, though, at this point.
Oh, the whole thing's getting to him. Have you seen any of his rallies lately? Yeah, Trump's definitely kind of losing it. He's even started to slur his slurs. You know, he keeps talking, you know. I mean, the judge slapped him with a gag order, but if the judge really wants to shut Trump up, he should ask him to clarify his stance on abortion. Then he'll be quiet for quite a while.
Or just turn off the prompter. He's got congressmen flying in to make speeches outside the courthouse, too.
Yes, all these suck-ups. And did you notice they're all wearing the same gray suit and red tie? It's like they matched. I couldn't tell if they were in a cult or if Men's Warehouse had a 2-for-1 sale. I mean, they're so eager to please and follow commands. I'm surprised Kristi Noem didn't shoot them.
Oh,
That's
wow.
Hey, I'm a dog. I'm allowed to make that
That is,
joke.
you are allowed.
You know what was great though? You know who I loved seeing among the in the courtroom, outside the courtroom? Did you see Joe Piscopo was there too? It wasn't to support Trump though. Joe Piscopo just has to be on camera at least once a year to keep his SAG-AFTRA health insurance.
There were a lot of people, including me, that were hoping that Trump would testify.
Yeah, no, that was never going to happen. But he explained it, though. He said it's not that he's guilty. He's just shy in front of crowds. Now, I think his team was afraid that if he had to be sworn in with his hand on the Bible, it would burst into flames.
Yeah, there is that possibility.
But he's smart, you know. He's very smartly. He's got like 3 more trials, and everybody's worried for him. But he's very smart, you know. Because when he was president, he pushed all these environmental policies that guaranteed that the world would end before half his trials finished.
Do you have any opinions on who his vice presidential pick will be? Any sense?
Yes, we're still talking. I like Vivek, you know. I still think he's got the chance, you know. He represents the American dream, the son of immigrants who grew up to hate immigrants. Usually takes 3 generations to hate immigrants. Vivek did it in 1. You know, and people love the name Vivek Ramaswamy because just saying his name, Republicans love it. Ramaswamy. It feels like saying 3 ethnic slurs in a row. But this is a very important, you know, we joke and we kid, but I want people to take this election seriously, you know, because this November, Americans have to ask themselves, what kind of dementia do they want in the White House?
It's true.
They want wandering in the park in a robe dementia, that's Biden. Or if you want random noises, and Hannibal Lecter was quite a guy, dementia, that's a Trump. It's more of a Trump vibe.
What about RFK?
RFK Jr., I don't think we can handle. I think people know that they can't handle 4 years of that guy. Think about it. After spending just a couple of weeks around Kennedy's mind, even his worm took its own life.
We appreciate all of your intellect, your comedy, your insight. But tell us about your live show because you.
Yes, I have a live show coming up at the Den Theater in Chicago. It's a week from Monday, right at the start of Pride Month, or as Harrison Butker calls it, Jew. Yes. Nice guy.
You seem to know some sports. People,
I do.
People in Chicago, Jessica among them, are very excited about Caleb Williams. Are you?
You know, not just Caleb Williams. I thought the whole NFL draft was very exciting, the first round, you know? I mean, think about it. For the first time ever in an NFL draft, did you know this? 5 of the first 10 players drafted were fathered by Nick Cannon. No, it's a great time to be in Chicago, though. It really is in June. The cicadas drown out the gunshots. You know, there were 45 shootings over one weekend recently. Even the NRA said that's too many. And now they're proposing a ban on weekends.
Can we talk about your game show, please?
Yes, you may talk about, but please, you please, me please.
Yes.
Let's make a poop. I'm the host. And we ask celebrity panelists questions, kind of like Jeopardy, and you have to try to guess a funny answer. That's how it works. Can I play with you?
Oh, we would love to. But do you want to tell us anything about the guest panelists? Anything about the famous...
Let's couple of questions, and then we'll get the...
Let's play the game,
okay?
Dan.
All right.
I want you to understand how the game works first. Human beings are separated by this. Human beings are separated from this by only a single chromosome. Can you guess?
From this?
Like primates, right?
Like a
like
single
chimpanzee?
chromosome baboon.
No, sorry. The correct answer is, what is Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Okay.
He would have also accepted Jake and Logan Paul.
Okay.
Try another one. In 2023, sales of Bud Light dropped significantly due to this.
I know this one. They had an endorser who was a trans person, and that's
No. Sorry. The correct answer is, what is Ben Affleck having a dry January? That's why the sales dropped significantly.
Okay, understood. So whatever we think is the correct answer is the wrong answer. That's the way.
No, you're supposed to guess the funny answer. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Did I not say that?
No. Well, you're funnier than we are. Let's make a poop. It's a live game show.
It's a live game show we did a show with Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh.
And that's the one that's on YouTube. It's a very funny special for people to watch. But in Chicago, so far we have Ryan Dempster. You know that guy from the Cubs.
Yep.
He's a broadcast. And we have former Governor Rod Blagojevich.
No way.
Really?
Yes.
He's out?
Yes, after terrible scandal.
Trump pardoned him, I think.
He sold Obama's seat, right?
Yes, and now he's out. And it's still 10 days away, so we have time to pry Blagojevich out of Trump's ass.
He will be at the Den Theater in Chicago Monday, June 3rd, and you can watch Triumph's special, Let's Make a Poop, in San Francisco with Weird Al and many others at the Team Coco page on YouTube. What Conan O'Brien and Triumph have done over the years is really amazing. So to Triumph and your cohort Robert's ear, we thank you.
That was the Turner one. It's the same song.
Xander, there is nothing in your teeth. You look like a champion. You look like you have the smile of a champion. You look like a winner. He is 30 years old. He's a bona fide star on the PGA Tour. After making the final group on Sunday 4 times this season, finally won his first major PGA championship this Sunday, and it's his first win since 2022.
It was such a feel-good win for people who love golf and love Xander because he has been so close so many times, Dan. He's been in 28 majors, finished in the top 25, I think 21 times.
But right now he's struggling with something in his teeth, and I don't know what it is. What is happening? Why are you struggling so much with what's happening with your mouth right now?
An entire truffle.
I just had an everything bagel. There's something in there, you know. It's all good.
It's a dangerous bagel to have.
Those are tough.
It is. Those are tough.
Right before an interview.
A lot of seeds. There's a lot. Put it on the poll. Is the everything bagel tough right before an interview?
You going chive cream cheese plain? What are we doing here?
No, it was actually a little like breakfast bagel. So, or like,
it's good though. I like.
It was nice. It was nice, but tough time though. Yeah, agent texted me. He's like, "You got to get on," and I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Let me."
Well,
you're fine. Don't worry about it.
You're great.
But what is
I like the trophy casually being over your shoulder too.
So
Nice
great,
touch.
yes.
What is the greatest of the bagels? Go ahead and make the perfect bagel for us.
Oh, everything bagel toasted. I kind of like a little bit more of a toast on it as well. I like a little bit of
double
crunch.
toasted. Yeah,
well done.
Double toast for sure. And then just some cream cheese. I keep it simple, just like everything else.
Nothing else. You don't want lox. You don't want anything. Just cream cheese, a preferred schmear of any kind. Like, do you have a brand that you endorse?
No, not really.
All right. That concludes that particular cul-de-sac where the interview questions end there. I want to ask you, though, about the bad parenting in your life that involves you getting cigars at 10 years old. Like, that doesn't seem – that seems like something that everyone in your family should be against.
I have my dad's half French, half German. My mom's Taiwanese, grew up in Japan. We're pretty, we have a worldly background, so – I don't know where it started, but I was around cigar smoke for quite some time.
Well, I thought it was 10 years old, which sounds too early to me.
It is too early.
Yes. Smoking a cigar at 10. I was getting secondhand high, I guess.
So was I.
Well, that's smoking. I mean.
Yeah. Okay. So when did you start smoking cigars, and what is your expertise in this area?
I'm a rookie. I mean, I'll smoke them with pretty much anyone, but usually celebratory is the region. Social to celebratory is how I'd categorize my smoking. And then, I think the first cigar I ever tried was probably when I was 12 or 13.
Oh, it's not 10 at least. I mean.
Yeah, it's still pretty early.
It's a touch. It wasn't much.
Inhale.
What can you tell us is unusual about your upbringing when you have when you have so much different culture in your upbringing? What would you identify as some of the things most responsible for forming you?
Good question. I'd say it was an unorthodox approach to just about everything. The way we, the like it was very European, I guess, the way like we'd have 3-hour dinners when we'd have conflict. We would sit and talk about what happened. It wouldn't be like, go to your room, you're grounded. Like I've never been grounded in my entire life. So all these, like, it was like a lot of conversation. We talked through a lot of the problems. Like my dad, my mom, they always wanted me to understand what was going on, why I was in trouble, if I was ever in trouble. I mean, like it felt like I could do pretty much anything as a kid compared to a lot of my other friends. But I always think back to like when I was a kid, I was like, why didn't I do more dumb stuff? Like if my parents didn't really mind. And so they obviously had some sort of hook in me there, knowing that I wasn't going to do anything too bad as a kid. But yeah, the international background just brought a lot of culture, a lot of food, and a lot of family into the whole thing.
When you mention cultural influences, which would you say was the greatest? Like what's the one that pushed you forward the most?
I mean, it's a mix. I mean, Asian culture is super family oriented. The Germans and the Japanese, historically have gotten along in the past. They instill a lot of discipline, a lot of perfection, a lot of work ethic. And then the French kind of aspect, my dad's half French, and he tries to explain how they live their lives. They try to enjoy how they live, savoir vivre, whatever it means. He would always say that as a kid for me growing up. Like it's just a way like to live your life a certain way and to enjoy everything. So you take your time when you eat dinner, you take your time when you're with your friends. You're never really in too much of a rush. So there's a lot of clash with the cultures, but I'm kind of just like a melting pot of a lot of it.
Where'd the discipline come from, though? Because it's such a lonely sport. It requires such perfectionism. So the discipline about being meticulous, where does that come from?
Yeah, definitely, the Asian in me, stereotypically, and the German for sure. Just the German drill sergeant from my dad's perspective was just hounding down on me, always just holding me accountable. We'd have conversations about what I'd like to do, how I want to go about my work. And it didn't take a whole lot once I, came out with what I was trying to do myself and I verbalized it. My dad would hold me to my words often, and it didn't take a lot for him to push me because I said it all and it's things that I wanted. So he just held me to a high standard.
Give me the most extreme example you can think of from your childhood of trying to meet the expectations around that kind of pushing.
He never really pushed. He when I sat down, I was just like any kid. I wanted to hang out with my friends. I wanted to, go to the mall after school. I wanted to do all those small things. But, my dad told me if you want to be great at anything, you have to put a ton of hours into it, and you're young, so you can get a nice head start. And so he's like, I will help you if you are committed, and I will love you if you're committed. I will still love you if you're not committed, but this is a choice you need to make right now. And it's a hard choice because you're a kid. And so I just remember there's times, where school would end and I would try to hitch a ride from my buddies, because I was pretty young when I was like 13 when I got to high school. My parents were foreigners, but I was just trying to get myself to the golf course, in the random days where I was tired after school. It was like, get out at 3 p.m. and, I'd be at home. My dad would come home from work. He'd be like, did you practice? And I would look at him, like every kid looks at their parent when they mess up. And he didn't really have to say anything else. And I just felt this like overwhelming guilt in my body because I told him that I was committed and I told him that I wanted this, and I was letting him down and I was letting myself down more than anything. So I don't know how he did it, but he played some nice mind games with me when I was a kid.
Xander, I've got no connection point to being a good golfer, let alone one that's barreling down on the precipice of winning a championship like you just did. Typically, people that cruise to a title, they have a charmed existence. And I don't know what your mindset is, but you had to play really good golf to win this one. You had some of the best golfers in the world on an absolute heater in form to win a title. Are you paying attention to what other people are doing on the course, knowing that you have to lock in that much more? Or are you just tuning it out and trying to play your game?
Well, I mean, both. There's these leaderboards that are like 30 by 30, they're massive. You just see them everywhere. So I look at it, I recognize it, I embrace it, and then I just have to lock in. I got to realize, why am I in this position? It's because I've been staying in my lane. It's because I've been doing all these things the way I do them. And so it's easy to get, lost in the sauce, like looking too far ahead. And you just look at the board, you accept it, you embrace it, and then you just get to work. You know exactly what you have to do to win a tournament, and hard part's doing it, obviously, but just locking in after every shot. It's like a weird 3 hours of your life, because it's going really fast, but it's also so slow at the same time. It's strange. It's hard to explain.
Xander, we have video here of the second shot on 18. You have 2 feet in the sand. The ball's above your legs. I tell the guys, and I told them yesterday, that's one of the greatest shots in golf history that no one will ever talk about. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, it's nerve wracking. I mean, I've hit that shot. If you've played a sport enough and you're in their sport a ton, like golf, for example, I've hit it everywhere on a property you can possibly imagine. So I've had a shot like that before, and I wasn't too nervous about it. And like you said, everyone was playing incredible golf. Like, I knew I had to make a birdie, and if you're trying to win, you have to go for it. So I knew chipping out, and trying to hit an iron up on that ridge wasn't going to get me a birdie. I knew punching it up there somewhere was going to give me the best chance and opportunity to win this golf tournament.
How many beers have been consumed out of that trophy behind you?
We started with some champagne. We're in Kentucky, so there was whiskey, like classically, some bourbon. And it was we had a nice go with it. We had a small crew there at the rental. When we get back to, I'm in Florida right now, but when we get back to San Diego, that's where Austin's from, and a lot of my, that's where I grew up. So I'm sure. And then my parents are on a whole nother level. They have their like crews they're going to go out with. So there's a good chance my parents actually drink more out of this than I do.
I have so many questions, but we have limited time with you. Who are some of the coolest people you've heard from over the last couple of days that you find moving?
Tiger's reached out. A lot of guys on tour have reached out. They've been super supportive. MJ texted me. I got to know him a little bit better at joining the Grove here in Florida. Steph Curry reached out. He's a Callaway staffer. So it's been it's been an awesome. It's cool to have other sporting figures to reach out to me.
Could have just said MJ.
I mean, yes, but he's got it's a good list. I want
a great list.
I want to kind of go through his texts here, but who hasn't reached out that should have?
My dad.
Who's the person? Come on.
I mean, I am. Yeah, my phone. I thought my phone was going to explode, so I'm still like, I'm constantly just trying to get back to. Everyone's been so supportive. I'm just trying to get back to everyone individually. I thought my phone was really going to overheat at some point.
What's your go-to response? Because you're getting so many. It's kind of like when you get birthday messages. Like, are you just saying thanks, bro? Like, what's your go-to response to all the congratulations you're getting?
I'm not a copy and paster. So, I mean, I'll read what they wrote, and, I'll try to respond accordingly.
Little salute emoji.
Just
maybe?
The heart. You just heart it and move on.
No. Yeah. That's like a nice thing that, the iPhone did, or Apple, or iMessage, where you can just like heart everything. But I'll write a text. I'll address who they are, just so it doesn't feel like, I'm just ripping through these things.
You hear from Scotty, or his hands tied?
That's a good joke, Xander.
Oh man, no, yeah, Scotty and Meredith, they're awesome. Meredith reached out.
When that's going down, are you like, oh, this field just opened up?
Yeah, it's the number one golfer in the world.
He fired a 66 after he got out of prison.
He's my friend, but it gives me a certain advantage to have him in jail. Not
it does
prison.
break up the groove.
There's only a few ways to beat the guy. You know what I'm saying?
What is the best of the group chat? Because I've been told by sources that the group chat, that you have changed the group chat to include Scheffler's mugshot.
That was not. There was someone else on our table that did that. It was the day after. We needle Scotty. He kicked it like a champ. So our little group chat for our physio table, it ended up being a mugshot of Scotty, and he took it great. He showed up the next day smiling at everybody.
But take us through you learning the news and where you were. Just take us through everything that happened there, where you realized my friend's in jail. This isn't terrible for me. They can wait. They can wait a while before they let him out.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a prank. I mean, I woke up. I can't remember what time, 7:45 or 8 o'clock or something. Like trying to sleep in, and my wife has media on her phone. I don't have anything on my phone. So she like showed me, she's like, what is this? And I was like, it must be a prank or something. And then, we turned the TV on and, he's just plastered all over ESPN. So I was like, oh, like that's kind of interesting. And then, news started coming out, but he's, I don't know if you guys know him at all or have ever talked to him. He's a concrete dude. He's solid. So like, I know him pretty well now and I've competed against him, and there's no way he would ever do anything to harm anyone except a competitor or a golf ball. So
all well and fine, but what was the funniest thing? What was no, he's not going to answer that.
You saw him get to the club, and you're like, "What happened to due process?"
I just want to know what the funniest stuff was with
got out of that holding so quick.
The funniest stuff with Scotty being in prison,
jail, not prison.
Yeah,
jail,
not hard time yet. Still pending.
He was
like when he tees it up. Are you saying to yourself, "How do you get out so quick?" I mean,
no. I mean, I think the funniest thing I was like, I don't know how people in Kentucky had like a screen printer, but they had like mugshot shirts like an hour and a half after he was released. And I was like, walking around property, you know what I mean? And like kids are wearing a free Scotty shirt. I'm like, people are incredible these days. I don't know how they do it.
Yes or no question. We will let the champion go on this one. Yes or no, you will at one point wear one of those T-shirts in front of him.
I would 100% wear it in front of him.
Okay, let's make sure he gets one, please. Xander, thank you for being on with us. We appreciate it, and congratulations.
Thanks, boys.